Good morning. This is American Sunrise Early Edition. Thank you for joining us. I am Brian Glenn. Here's what we're tracking today. First, President Trump delivers his State of the Union, a prime-time address expected to set the tone for the next chapter of his presidency, the economy, national security, foreign policy, and a message to both parties on Capitol Hill. Real America's Voice will air the speech live starting at 7 p.m. What will the president prioritize, and how will the country respond? We're going to break it down. Then, a defining moment on Iran. Deal or war? The president at a crossroads, all eyes now on the State of the Union for clarity on the next move. What happens next could shape America's role abroad and his legacy here at home. We'll have the latest. And later, California's homeless industrial complex under fire. El Cajon's mayor demanding answers after he says he faced threats for even asking questions. Tens of millions spent on programs. Homelessness still rising. Where did the money go? Who's accountable? And why won't county leaders answer? Mayor Bill Wells joins us live on all that and many more as America's Sunrise Early Edition starts right now.
Welcome to American Sunrise Early Edition, the show where faith, freedom, and the values that built this nation take center stage.
You people and others like you built this country.
Join us as we break down the stories that matter.
FAFO.
If you don't know, now you know.
American Sunrise Early Edition on Real America's Voice starts now.
All right. Good morning, everybody. On this Tuesday morning, I'm broadcasting once again live from the Patriot Mobile Studios here in Dallas. Now, immediately after the show, I'm heading back over to DFW and taking a flight to DCA so we can join everyone tonight for the State of the Union address. I'll be at the White House. We'll have other correspondents around D.C. to have complete coverage on that. So before we go any further, let's get your day started. Here's how you can really start your day with us. Take a look at the bottom of the screen right now. You'll see a QR code. That's your direct line to Weather Nation. You can scan it, get connected, and during the 9 a.m. hour of American Sunrise, we may feature your hometown forecast. Pretty cool. So head to Real America's Voice chat on Getter, Rumble, on YouTube, and you could be next. All right. First, let's get a check of the national forecast. Joining us now is Weather Nation's Tracy Anthony. Tracy, happy Tuesday to you.
Hey, happy Tuesday. You know what? Cool thing, too, about those hometown forecasts. Yesterday, we had a viewer out of Warwick, Rhode Island, and that is actually where they took the cake for the most snow.
Wow.
With this system. Brian, they got 37.9 inches of snow.
How do you dig out from that? I mean, how do you get your car out? How do you walk out of your house?
You know, definitely in shifts. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I cleaned my hands of that a long time ago. That's why I live in Florida.
You're done with that.
Yeah. But just an incredible historic storm. So want to show you some videos that we've been getting in from this area. This is a look at Boston where they had to take the all-terrain vehicles out. This is from the police department just to help with rescues because, you know, when you get 20 inches of snow in a city like Boston, it's so difficult to get out there actually, you know, using dump trucks to get the snow out of the city area. So Central Park picked up 19 inches of snow and we had winds up to 83 miles per hour. So scenes like this were common and a handful of people without power. Yesterday there was up to 600,000 people without power. Now the good news is today those weather conditions will slowly start to improve as the system continues to make its way northeast and farther away from our shoreline, but look at how aggressive those waves were. So we are going to continue to deal with some, you know, impacts from coastal erosion and things like that. But this blizzard was historic. This nor'easter was the first time that Boston had had a blizzard warning issued in 4 years. New York City, they haven't had a blizzard warning in 9 years. So yes, this area is used to weather like this, but it has been a long, long time since we have felt the impacts. And look at that, Warwick, 37 inches of snow. And when you think about it, it's that heavy, wet snow. So everywhere from northern New England all the way down through Maryland, going to be digging out where we've had snowfall over a foot. So once those models started to hint at that, we were all kind of like 2 feet, maybe. But look at this. Just incredible amounts of snow across the region. So want to kind of talk about what we can expect over the next couple of days. And for the Northeast, we are going to have 2 days of bone-chilling cold. We have another Clipper system that's going to work across the area, and with gusty winds, that's going to keep our temperatures below freezing. So it's going to take a little time for that snow to melt off naturally. But the good news is we don't have a month of cold. It's just a couple days. By the end of the week, temperatures should be above freezing. Across the rest of the country, it's pretty chilly across the southeast. Still very warm, windy, and dry across the central plains. That's why that fire danger still exists. And we're tracking another wave of moisture that's going to push onshore out west. They are going to deal with a lot of different impacts, from flooding concerns, snow, avalanche concerns, and high wind warnings. So a few hot spots across the country weather-wise, and then a few quiet areas, especially the central plains, except for that fire concern. But 35 in Minneapolis, 35 in Detroit, and Miami 66. So we have some cool temperatures here in Florida, but it just kind of feels like fall. It's that cool, crisp air. And then for the Northeast, don't put those shovels away just yet. We're bracing for more snow by tomorrow morning. So, Brian, they just can't cut a break. This is definitely going to be insult to injury for those areas, you know, digging out of 2 feet of snow.
Yeah, we'll see how many people in Congress and the Senate and basically everyone on Capitol Hill, if they were able to get back to D.C. today in time for tonight. So for the State of the Union, Tracy, as always, thank you. And we can see you back on America's Sunrise.
Sounds good.
Thank you. All right, tonight, all eyes are on Capitol Hill. President Trump delivering his State of the Union address, laying out his agenda for the year ahead: the economy, national security, foreign policy, and what comes next for his presidency. Now, first priorities and all of that. Real America's Voice will carry the speech live at 7 p.m. tonight. But first, what should you expect and what will matter the most? Joining us live from Capitol Hill, Real America's Voice national political reporter Neil McCabe. Neil, good morning to you. I would imagine there's a buzz in the air there on Capitol Hill as tonight is the night.
Yeah, of course, Washington really loves the State of the Union address. It's like the Super Bowl for all the political geeks here. It's the only city in America where you can walk into any bar and instead of everyone watching a game, everyone's watching the State of the Union. And there are watch parties for it. And obviously, it's one of the hottest tickets in town, Brian.
Yeah. Neil, what do you think his emphasis will be, his focus on this speech? Obviously, the economy, all the aspects of that, but I would imagine with everything swirling around Iran and all this speculation, do you see that working its way into the speech as well?
Yeah, I think some of the stuff we're going to hear tonight is going to be like some kind of obligation, right? He has an obligation to address the affordability hoax. Inflation is down, the economy is booming, like businesses are starting up. Any reasonable or objective view at the U.S. economy would tell you that this place is really about to take off. Things are going great in the economy, but for some reason they keep pounding banging the pots and pans over affordability, and so he has no choice. He has to address it. I think you're also going to see the president look down at the Supreme Court justices after their tariff decision, and I would expect him to go off script and maybe address them directly. I wouldn't be surprised if the Supreme Court justices didn't show up at all. Certainly there's going to be about 20 or 30 senators and congressmen, Democrats, who aren't going to show up. I think the president is also going to address, the tensions with Iran. And, and I thought we saw a preview of it yesterday when he met with the angel families. He named yesterday National Angel Family Day. And so I think that immigration and the deportation of the criminal aliens and the other aliens, I think that's going to be a big focus, because the White House should feel that it is on solid ground on immigration. They just need to reboot it, Brian.
I agree with you, Neil. And I do think he needs to remind the American people that he inherited a disastrous economy. You're talking about double-digit inflation across the board. Every service industry, every product was affected by that. And he has brought that down to what we would consider a normal level of inflation. So I think that he will remind the American people about that. But let's talk about the antics that we could expect at something like this. I know at previous State of the Unions, Democrats will not stand for, simple things like, honoring an angel mom or honoring a wounded soldier coming back from combat. They've pulled these stunts before. They'll basically sit on their hands. They won't clap. Do you think we could potentially be looking at tonight one of the most historical defiances from the Republican Party, considering they all suffer from TDS?
Well, I think you could very much see a walkout or a deliberate, sort of leaving, benches and seats open, right, to make it look like, it's not a sellout, what it obviously is. At 7 o'clock tonight at the National Press Club, there's going to be sort of an anti-State of the Union address headlined by Robert De Niro and a host of other left-wing celebrity stars. Then at the mall, there's going to be an anti-State of the Union rally. And so, I imagine there's going to be amazing press coverage of that to sort of create that sort of parallel or binary. I think what's really going to happen, though, is that the Democrats are completely overplaying their hand. And it's going to create a lot of tensions inside the Democratic Party because Hakeem Jeffries was under pressure not to show up himself. He's going to show up. Schumer will show up. And what you're going to have is you're going to have the Democratic leadership sort of stuck there as their progressive base is pulling all these antics. And it's going to create more tension inside the Democratic Party. So if the Republicans could get their act together, they could just sort of sit back and watch the Democrats fight a civil war. But, I don't have a lot of confidence in the Republicans getting their act together either, Brian.
Yeah. Well, one group that will be there, Neil, is the gold medal winners for the U.S. men's hockey team. They will be there in attendance. That's going to be kind of cool, right?
Yeah, that guy Jack Hughes is amazing. You saw his busted tufa, and if I was that kid, I would never get it fixed. He said he's going to get it fixed. I wouldn't get it fixed because that busted tufa is money in the bank. For the rest of his life, that smile is cash. The girls' team, I guess they're not going to show up, but, I think there'll be enough seats for the hockey team. And that hockey team just did such a great job. And it really shows what the Olympics is supposed to be when it's not politics. It's just everybody working and fighting for their country. I think that, like what you were saying before about, people not really paying attention to the State of the Union, I think that, coming so close after the Olympics, people are still trying to digest it. But the State of the Union is the beginning of the legislative season, and it's going to run straight through July 4th. Anything that's going to get done this year will get done between this day and July 4th. After July 4th, all bets are off, and then it's the midterms and the budget crisis and all the other hoo-ha-ha, Brian.
Yeah, and I know another group of people that will be in attendance will be some of the Epstein victims, some of the women that have come forward of all of that. So anticipate maybe perhaps a little bit of drama in that regards. But Neil, I will see you here in a little bit as I make my way back to D.C. And as always, thanks for your contributions and thanks for hanging out with us this morning.
All right, safe travels, man.
Yep, you got it. All right, Real America's Voice will carry tonight's State of the Union live starting at 7 p.m. And then coming up, the state of California under Governor Gavin Newsom spent billions to tackle homelessness. But yet it continues to get worse. Where is the money going? El Cajon's mayor demanding answers and says he was threatened for even asking the question. All of this is coming up next. Stick around.
President of the United States.
It's been an incredible year for America. The Dow hitting record highs, the border secured, cartels in shambles. Dictators captured, wars brought to an end.
America is back.
And the United States respected again around the world. Now, Donald J. Trump delivers his next State of the Union address, laying out the victories and the bold vision for what comes next.
The American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before.
America now has a strong president, unlike the other guy.
Well, we saved the planet from the climate crisis.
Are you stupid?
Live coverage starts this Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss the real State of the Union on Real America's Voice.
It will be like nothing that has ever been seen before.
The world doesn't slow down because you're tired. And weakness gets exposed. That's why the best take Go Pills. Born for military performance, built for high-pressure days when your brain has to move faster than the chaos. This is neurotransmitter support, helping your mind fire clean signals so you can process data fast, decide fast, and stay locked in when it matters. Packed with safe, proven ingredients designed to boost cognitive performance so you stay sharp under pressure. The most badass military in the world uses this kind of energy every day. Now you can too. From training to eliminate America's enemies to smoke-checking terrorists, Go Pills keep the mission fueled. Real world tested by high-level tactical communities. Now available to you. Greenlight the beast inside. Pop a Go Pill. Scan the QR code or go to gopills.com and use promo code REALAmerica for 15% off. Now is the moment to put your brand in front of an engaged, loyal audience through Real America's Voice. When you advertise on Real America's Voice, you're not just running an ad, you're partnering with trusted voices like Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and other influential hosts. Backed by millions of monthly listeners.
What's happening? Because of a Real Voice, man. I watch it all the time.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Real America's Voice gives sponsors the chance to put their product front and center, displayed on screen and highlighted by our anchors during exclusive segments and live events.
Head to freetrumpknife.com.
This means your brand becomes part of the conversation as it happens.
Secure your spot before it's too late.
Join us today and make your brand part of the news conversation that America's viewers trust. Real America's Voice, where your message is seen, heard, and remembered.
Well, welcome back. That's a look at a very cold New Jersey, I would imagine. I'm coming from you from a kind of cold Dallas, Texas at the Patriot Mobile Studios. Welcome back to America Sunrise. I am Brian Glenn. Good to have you with us this morning. We're tracking the White House, tracking the markets, and all the stories shaping your day. And as always, we invite you to join the conversation on Getter, YouTube, and Rumble. We're live, we're listening, and we're here. So, all right, quick check on Wall Street as we head towards today's opening bell. Rough start to the week. The Dow down 821 points at 804. Thank you. The Nasdaq off 258, finishing at 22,627. Investors kind of reacting to a fresh economic concerns and profit taking after higher recent highs on that. Crude oil just under $67 a barrel. That's just down a fraction. Natural gas right at $3. That's up just a bit. And the 10-year yield, Treasury yield rather, near 4.03. That's edging lower this morning. We'll keep an eye on that. That's your quick check of the market as we head into the opening bell. Okay, back to our top story. Real America's Voice will carry the President's State of the Union address live tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. And there's one issue that may come up more than other, and that's Iran. The president is at a crossroads, a push for a stronger deal or take a harder line. The world will be listening for what he says and what it signals about what comes next. The stakes are big for the country and for his legacy, to be honest. Join us now is Brandon Weichert. Brandon, all right, we've been talking about this for weeks now. We're at the State of the Union. Obviously, he's going to talk about the economy, but Iran is going to be mentioned probably more than once, maybe twice.
Yeah, and I think obviously I was convinced based on sourcing I had and what I could just read the room, they were ready to roll this weekend, this last weekend in terms of dropping bombs. I was under the impression that Israel was prepared to initiate as early as Saturday, but a very interesting thing happened. The Tucker interview with Mike Huckabee, the U.S. ambassador to Israel, dropped, in which it sounded like the U.S. ambassador was embracing what's known as a Greater Israel strategy, which then sent the Arab states, which the U.S. and Israel would need to assist in shooting down any Iranian missiles that were fired at them in retaliation for Israeli-U.S. airstrikes. The Arabs made it out like they weren't going to assist in shooting those missiles down because they wanted clarification on what U.S. policy really was toward the region, because Greater Israel would mean that those Arab states are losing territory. So I think this interview might have actually slowed the push for war, as well as the humiliating images coming out about the USS Gerald R. Ford, our best, most advanced, newest aircraft carrier. It has a clogged toilet problem. So clogged toilets and Tucker's interview might have slowed the push for war, but ultimately it looks like Trump is still very much poised to drop the bombs soon.
Yeah, and sources saying yesterday that Tucker was at the White House. Yeah. Can't completely confirm that, but I would not doubt if that is true. I know that the President Trump often meets with Tucker Carlson. I think he trusts his input and his knowledge on this whole situation. So that wouldn't surprise me if any kind of conversation they had yesterday, Brandon, resulted in kind of what we now might be kind of a pump the brakes on this and go to more of a diplomacy approach.
Well, also the Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Kane finally put an official report out, which echoed what I've been saying, which is that a war or air war against Iran might not end up very well for us. So now it's in writing. So now also the president is boxed in that way in terms of not being able just to pull the trigger, because now he's got an official report from the military saying if it goes wrong, we can point to this and say, hey, we told you so.
Yeah, well, we're all going to be watching it tonight. Brandon, thank you so much as always, and I'm sure we'll talk on the other side of the coin.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, moving on to a word from our sponsor, Terrance. Now, this is great. I love these guys. If you're tired of thinning hair, well, you're in luck. If you cringe every time you see another clump in the shower drain, well, yeah, you might be like me as well. Then your hairs probably need some protein. Just like our muscles lose protein as we age, our hair loses protein as well. So leading to thin, dry hair and brittle strands. That's why Hydrolift volumizing shampoo by Terrance can help. Hydrolift contains wheat protein that strengthens your hair follicles and deep within. This transformation thin and lifeless hair into fuller, more resilient locks. It also contains biotin from sugar beets, which draws water into the strands, making your hair feel silky soft. So right now you can try Hydrolift volumizing shampoo risk-free, save 35% with a discount code SUNRISE. So head over to Terrance.com to shop and save. Information's on your screen. And by the way, Terrance has many products if you're looking to rejuvenate your skin as well, your hair and your nail appearance. These are USDA certified organic, so they are great for your body and the environment. Again, you can save 35% on your entire order with the early discount with the discount code EARLY. So go to Terrance.com, shop and save. Do it right now. All right, as we head to break, another reminder, folks, Real America's Voice is carrying the State of the Union tonight, live starting at 7 p.m. I'll be there. Join us then. There's still to come more stories driving the headlines when we come back. Stick around as this early edition continues after the break.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
All right, welcome back, American Sunrise Early Edition. I am Brian Glenn. That's a live look. Capitol Hill there. Well, join us for our coverage there a little bit later today. I'm coming to you live from Dallas, Texas at the Patriot Mobile Studios. We're glad to have you with us this morning. We're tracking the headlines as always. We invite you to join the conversation on Getter, YouTube, and Rumble. We're live and we're listening. All right, a quick programming note. Tonight, once again, 7 p.m. Eastern, full coverage of the State of the Union, the President, the agenda, the moment, right here on Real America's Voice. So join us. Now to California, where questions about public spending are getting louder. Influencers, investigative journalists, local leaders are all digging into what they call runaway spending. Little to show for it. Under Gavin Newsom, billions have been poured into homeless programs, yet encampments continue to spread up and down the coast. In San Diego County alone, tens of millions spent on El Cajon's mayor says, well, when he asked where's the money, he was threatened and told to stay quiet. He's not backing down. Mayor Bill Wells joins us now. We got Mayor Bill? We don't have him yet. Okay, but we take a look at the crisis in California. I lived there for about 15 years back in the late 90s, early 90s, mid to late 90s and into 2000s. And I saw firsthand that state start to slide. The homeless encampments that you would saw, staying up in most of the LA area, then spilled down into Orange County and then into San Diego County as well. And it's been a major problem. Yet, instead of trying to get to the core root of homelessness and how do we fix it, they just throw money at it. They throw money, they start organizations, businesses, departments that look into homelessness and address it. And of course, I think that just not only provides just another income stream for someone running those organizations, but then the waste, fraud, and abuse happens as well. So it's not fixing the problem. It's just throwing money at something. And of course, it's gotten worse and worse. And they have the Olympics coming up in 28. And I was just out in Los Angeles a couple of weeks ago, and I was shocked at the amount of homelessness, the camps, the graffiti, all the things. And look at the images on your screen. Does this look like a city that is ready to host a major Olympics? We just came off the Winter Olympics. We saw how beautiful Cortina and all of Italy and all those sites that they had these various sports. That right there, folks, that would be the images that would define Los Angeles if they don't get it cleaned up. And I personally think that it starts with the money and where the money. If there's money in fighting causes, and they apparently have built up a following to fighting homelessness that hasn't got any better. So where do we go from here as far as how do you clean up the homelessness? You keep throwing money at it, it keeps getting worse. And remember the train to nowhere, the high-speed rail system that was put in years ago. We hear President Trump talk about that all the time. Billions spent on a high-speed rail. You've got a big gubernatorial race going on right now in California. Big race. And it looks like from the Democrat side, even though Swalwell might be, I think, the Democrat nominee from that side, but on the Republican side, it's rather crowded as well. So we'll see who turns up on that. Do we have Bill Wells now? Studio? We do. Joining us now is the mayor of El Cajon, Bill Wells.
Morning.
Bill, thanks for joining us this morning. I was kind of setting up the segment that the state keeps throwing money and more money and more money at homelessness, but it never gets any better.
No, conservative estimates are that we spent about $24 billion on homelessness. My research really tells me it's been more around $40 billion. And this is for something that really gets worse and worse every year. We've got a lot more housing, but we've got about 37% more people on the streets. California has 188,000 homeless people, and that's by design. California set it up this way because they've encouraged homelessness because, frankly, I used to think it was stupidity or just not understanding the problem. But I've come to believe that it's really about the money. There's just so much money in it. It's a great business model.
It is a great business model. Okay, so when you started asking about the money, what did they tell you?
Well, nothing. So, I reached out to the county of San Diego, and I said, I know that you get over $1 billion, maybe a couple $1 billion a year in homelessness, but that's part of the problem. We don't really know. So can you tell me how much money you received in the last, say, 5 years and how much money you've spent? Now, if you had called, I'm mayor of a city, if you called my city and said, how much did you spend on, say, street repairs, I could tell you within an hour exactly the amount of dollars we spent on street repairs. But the county of San Diego, they gave me some gobbledygook, some budget numbers that didn't really mean anything. So then my next step was the San Diego Coalition for Homelessness. And they're a bunch of NGOs and non-governmental organizations, and they get money. And what I found out was the people who sit on that board are actually the leaders of the non-governmental organizations that get the money. So the people that get the money are spending the money on themselves. And I sent them letters and said, hey, we'd like to know how much money you've spent. And we've got nothing back from them whatsoever, not even a return to our letter. Recently, we found that in my city, they ran a homeless voucher program. They stuffed people in our hotels from all around the county, even though our city only makes up about 3% of the population of San Diego County. We had over 50% of the people in this voucher program in our hotels. And we found out that the NGO that ran that program made $11 million putting people in hotels, keeping in our hotels for somewhere between $4,000 to $8,000 a month.
Okay, so you've got a big gubernatorial race coming up. Or which candidate is kind of speaking out on this? Or who's leading the messaging on this issue?
Well, I think Steve Hilton really seems to be leading the message. Chad Bianco, I think, would be sympathetic with that message as well. So, those are the only two candidates that I'm really hearing right now that have any interest in solving this problem whatsoever. Of course, all the Democrat candidates seem to be just ignoring the problem. They don't want to engage. They don't want to talk about it. And, I think it's just the same old playbook. If you just ignore it, maybe it will go away and we can keep this money flowing in.
Yeah, and of course, Gavin Newsom, his eyes are on the 2028 presidential election. So the accountability is going to catch up to him because he's going to be asked, why did your state slip so deep into this homeless problem? And then all the fraud, waste, and corruption. What did you do about it? What did you know? So we'll see what he has to say on that. Final thoughts on this. And what final thoughts, real quickly, if I get your thoughts on tonight, State of the Union, what do you think you're expected to, what do you want to hear?
Well, I think it's going to be classic Trump. I think he's going to talk about all the accomplishments he's done, and I think that's a good thing because I think it gets lost a lot in this noise is the fact that he's had amazing accomplishments. Certainly, I think he's going to talk about affordability. That's going to be a big thing. But I think we'll still stay with some of the themes that we've always had with President Trump of national pride and national unity and moving forward.
There you go. Mel Bill Wells, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Sorry about the technical problems. Okay.
No, don't worry about it. We were waiting for you. No problem. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, don't forget, Real America's Voice will carry President Trump's State of the Union address tonight at 7 p.m. Full coverage, no filter, right here on RAV. Still ahead, the Texas H-1B visa scam is under investigation. Allegations of fraud inside a program meant for high-skilled workers. The influencer and independent journalist is exposing the fraud. We'll have that coming up next as Early American Sunrise continues after the break.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now. Welcome to American Sunrise Early Edition. The show where faith, freedom, and the values that built this nation take center stage.
Now, welcome back, American Sunrise Early Edition. I am Brian Glenn coming to you live from the Patriot Mobile Studios here in Dallas. I'm headed to D.C. immediately after the show to cover the State of the Union. But right now, we're going to head over to the Denver newsroom for the latest headlines with the one and only Terrance Bates. Terrance.
Hey, Brian, good morning. So, look, there's a lot to get to. The Brits continuing to make arrests related to Jeffrey Epstein. Former British ambassador to the United States, Peter Mandelson, is the latest high-profile suspect to be locked up as part of a misconduct probe stemming from his ties to the late sex trafficker. Police in the UK confirmed the 72-year-old is out of jail on bail, pending further investigation. Mandelson's arrest early this morning comes on the heels of former Prince Andrew's arrest related to Epstein last week. The British arrests are said to be based on information from the Epstein files released by the U.S. Justice Department. However, here in the United States, evidence from those files have yet to yield arrest or indictments. Maybe Bill and Hillary Clinton's testimony later this week will lead to new and useful information in this particular case. And Brian, I think the more that other countries like Great Britain make arrests and start to move forward with holding people accountable for the information inside of those Epstein files, the more egg the United States is going to have on its face when we don't make arrests, we don't have indictments. The information is just out there, but people aren't being held accountable.
They're not. And you know what's interesting is I've noticed that not everyone is following the whole Epstein files drama. They're just not. And if they watch the mainstream media, legacy media, I'm going to take my mom, for example, and some of her friends, they have no clue what we're talking about, which I think is very interesting. If you're not completely connected in kind of this, more of a conservative media outlet or people who are away from the legacy media, they simply have no idea what's going on. So, but we'll see as more arrests come outside the states if that does put pressure. I mean, look, we arrested, who did we arrest the other day? Don Lemon. We could put that on the list. We got Don Lemon as, obviously not connected to that, but for going into the church. But yeah, I think the American people want a little bit more accountability for that case.
Absolutely. Accountability is going to be the word of the day, Brian. We're going to see if we can't sneak that into every script we can get it into, because as you said, the American people do want some accountability. Special counsel Jack Smith's case files and the final report from his prosecution of President Trump's classified documents case are permanently sealed this morning. District Judge Aileen Cannon made that ruling on Monday, referring to her July 2024 ruling that Smith's appointment as special counsel was unconstitutional. That ruling led Judge Cannon to dismiss the case against Trump and his two co-defendants. The Justice Department appealed that decision and later dropped the case altogether once 45 became 47. Now, in her 15-page ruling, Judge Cannon, who was appointed by President Trump, says that releasing the report now would amount to a, quote, manifest injustice because the case never reached a jury. She also argues that it could risk revealing information that's protected by attorney-client privilege. Brian, this is another kind of interesting development. Obviously, great news for President Trump, but when we talk about just transparency, I would still love to see whatever information the special counsel supposedly collected. I'm not so sure you can put much stock in it, but I'd like to at least see it.
I would love to see it. Maybe they can put an additional file onto the Epstein files and maybe the alien files. Let's all put these files together. A little bit of transparency on that. But it doesn't, I mean, it's good for President Trump, obviously, for it did favor in his way. But yeah, you often think, what were they thinking? What did they have?
Yeah.
Well, maybe we may never know. We may never know.
Yeah, it looks like we probably will never know at this point because they are permanently sealed. She has permanently closed access to those files, so we probably never will know. But I think it would be in the public interest, particularly as a journalist. I'd love to see what was in there, just my 2 cents. All right, let's go to New York real quick, Brian, because that city remains under a state of emergency as much of the Northeast in general is under nearly 3 feet of snow. The powerful blizzard that dumped on the region is said to be the strongest in a decade. Look at this right here, B.
Wow.
Wow. While public transportation in New York City was limited on Monday, by late last night, most subway lines were back operational. However, riders are being warned to expect delays and longer wait times than normal. And railroad service to Long Island and other parts of the city just getting underway this morning. In fact, they opened about 4 o'clock this morning, albeit on a limited basis. Meantime, here's the bigger story, B. New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani under fire for requiring temporary shovelers who want to get paid in order to clear crosswalks, bus stops, and other areas to have, what do you think it is that he wants them to have, Brian? I know you probably know this story, but just throw it out there for me. What do you think he wants shovelers to have, but voters not to have?
Well, I think they got to have an ID, right? To do it.
Oh my God, Brian Glenn has it. The $100,000 for Brian Glenn. He's got the big prize. Yes, Zohran Mamdani wanting workers who want to shovel in New York to have 2 forms of ID, but of course, he's not necessarily a proponent of having ID for voting. Really, bro? Really? I'm sorry I had to cue my kids, but really? That's what we're doing in New York. So yeah, that's another story, Brian. Have at it. That's what you call a softball. Knock it out of the park.
Yeah, no, this is ridiculous, but, you know, this is what they stand for. The SAVE Act, if we got it, that needs to be passed. It's overwhelmingly people support photo ID to vote in elections. I had to do it to vote in the early elections here in Texas. It's preposterous to think that you can vote without showing an ID. Now, I want to give Mamdani a little bit of a break there, Terrance. I understand that people are being very critical of him, of not being able to clean and clear some of the streets and all this stuff. You got like a foot of snow an hour. I mean, they got dumped on. I'm not sure what you could do to keep up with that. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a hall pass, and I can't be too critical of his response to the storm. But we can troll him on the requiring a voter an ID to shovel snow. We can't do that.
I hear you, B. I'm going to just raise you this one point. Yes, you've got a lot of snow, but apparently you've got a willing workforce that's ready to go and clear the snow. So why handcuff them and ask for more ID, especially in light of the fact that you're not willing to do it for elections? Like, that's just what gets me. You know, if you're not willing to do it for elections, then why would you want to see ID to get somebody paid just to clear the snow? Get the snow cleared. But that's just my 2 cents. That's why I live in Colorado and not in New York. Hands up. Don't attack me, T-Bates. Don't attack me.
Hands up, don't shovel is what I'm going to do. Terrance, thank you so much. We'll see you back on American Sunrise.
All right, B. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, too. All right, now to Texas, where new questions are surrounding the H-1B visa program, a system meant for high-skilled workers now facing allegations of fraud and manipulation. One of the voices digging into the story is Kaylee Campbell. She's been tracking the investigation and the impact on American workers, and she joins us now. Kaylee, thank you so much for coming on the show. You broke this story way before anybody else was talking about H-1B visa fraud in North Texas or really anywhere in the country. What is the very latest in this scandal that, we've got multiple businesses operating out of one house. Some offices don't have any employees. What's the very latest?
So thank you for having me, Brian, first off. Right now, there are a lot of other businesses being found. There's a very popular link. It's called like Visa Fraud Reporter. People will have to find it on my X account, but you can go on and you're able to access like this huge map, and it shows you little dots, and then you zoom in and you zoom into Texas. And then once you zoom into Texas, you get closer and closer. You can go to city by city, and it basically shows you how many LLCs are registered to a house or registered to a street or registered to a business. And so it gives you really easy access to see. And then Nick Plum, he's running for the Congressional District 2 here in Texas. He made this. And so he combined all of this together, and then you're able to actually start your own investigation. And once you do that, you upload pictures, you show like what evidence you found. And a lot of people have been doing this recently. And let's just say all of these businesses have been popping up empty, completely empty.
Yeah. And it's interesting that Frisco is now 33% Indian. And once a city 10, 12 years ago, it was even like a single digit population that made up of Indians. So in the last 10 years, I think this H-1B visa scam has been just assaulted. This has been weaponized to get people into this country. Would you agree?
It absolutely has. I 100% agree, because they're coming in here with just like the H-1B visas, getting their tech jobs. And then the problem is I read somewhere they're using the F-1B visa program just to bring their spouses over. And so if it's not one visa, it's another visa. And we've just got all of these different pathways for them to kind of like go through these loopholes and just drag their neighbors over here, drag their families over here, drag their best friends and practically everybody over here.
Yeah. And of course, you and I are both very, very open for legal immigration. Let's not, have our viewer confused on that. We are for legal immigration. But when something like this is abused, and years ago, and I got to look into this, and maybe we'll talk offline, I think they were even buying franchises, businesses that you could buy for $10,000, $20,000, buy a franchise, and then bring in all of your officers in those franchises to open up the various locations, bring them in on this type of visa. And then I found that, 2 years later, they were all closed. Every one of those locations were closed. And I'm thinking they even use that business model to get people in this country.
Yeah, and that sounds a lot like what they're doing with the houses in like Frisco, for example, because I had somebody message me and say, hey, I've rented a house for the last 4 years, and the owners moved back to India, And a lot of that is combined with this, like a bunch of mail coming from LLCs and showing up at these people's houses. So the H-1B visas applicants are coming here, buying houses in residential neighborhoods, and then they're going back to wherever they came from, India, for example, like this person, and then renting their houses out. And then they're like never to be seen again. There's about 5 or 6 issues with just this one issue.
Kaylee, what's the best social media platform for you for people to follow and get involved in what you're talking about?
You can find me on Instagram at Kaylee Ashland, and you can find me on X at Kaylee Ashland as well.
Kaylee, thank you so much for fighting for Texas. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, coming up, President Trump hosts the angel families at the White House, signing a proclamation designating National Angel Family Day and honoring Americans killed by criminal illegal aliens. The message and then impact coming up next. Stick around.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
You are doing a thankless job that most people just wouldn't do. And I just can't thank you enough. There are just not enough words to say. Because if you've lived the nightmare that we have lived, you understand the importance of the job that he's doing and securing our nation and fighting for our families. Because this could be any family. This happened to my family. This could be any one of your families.
That was Allison Phillips, Laken Riley's mother. Now, Laken was murdered while out for a run in Georgia by a criminal illegal alien. Yesterday at the White House, President Trump signed a proclamation designating February 22nd as National Angel Family Day, honoring Laken and other Americans killed by the criminal illegal aliens. Real America's Voice correspondent Ben Bergquam was there. Ben is also the host of Law and Border. Ben, tell us more about that event yesterday. Very personal and emotional.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day. I've been working with angel families for almost 10 years now. I met Agnes Gibney 9 years ago at a event in Southern California, a Tea Party event in Southern California. and been telling their stories ever since. And this is the part that I just don't understand. President Trump said it yesterday. I can't understand how a media and the Democrat Party care more about criminal illegal aliens than they do about American citizens. We had a room full of grieving families, dads, moms, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, grandmas and grandpas, who have and children who have lost their sons and daughters and parents and brothers and sisters, and the Democrats say nothing about it. In fact, they'll ignore it. They won't even tell the stories. But as soon as an illegal alien claims some sort of victimhood, they're the first ones to run there and to block ICE and to obstruct ICE, even to the point where they were doing it yesterday, having hearings on this to attack ICE for going in to remove these illegal aliens that Democrats allowed into our country. It's totally upside down, but I was honored to be there. Thank God for President Trump. Thank God for this administration, and thank God for ICE.
Well, Ben, thank God for you. You're an asset to this network. We're going to see you a little bit later today at the State of the Union. You stay warm, and we'll see you a little bit later tonight. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. As always, thank you for tuning in. You can find us back here tomorrow for a reaction of the State of the Union. 7 o'clock. So until then, goodbye and God bless. We'll see you.
American Sunrise is a great way to start your morning. Join us Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got the news of the day and some compelling interviews that you don't want to miss. Here's what you missed from yesterday. Another story we're watching, guys, the violence happening in Mexico after the death of cartel kingpin El Mencho. He, of course, was killed by Mexican military officials. The United States, the White House, saying that it provided some intel to help find him and ultimately kill him. This is just crazy, though. Some of the video we're seeing, I mean, we're talking about pharmacies being burned down. We're talking about gas stations being ransacked by some of these cartel members.
President Donald Trump announced that he is increasing U.S. global tariffs from 10% to 15%, effective immediately, following a Supreme Court ruling that struck down his earlier tariff program. Trump blasted the court's decision as anti-American and said the higher tariff rate is legally permissible under different trade laws. The move is expected to heighten global trade tensions and draw strong reactions from U.S. trading partners as markets adjust to the broader 15% import tax.
The tariff policy was working. It was protecting American industry. It was resetting our trade terms with other nations around the world. Inflation was staying low. Economic growth was booming. So I don't know why they had to break what wasn't broken. But what's clear is the president has tariff authority under other statutes, and he's going to use it. And hopefully people will understand that this is a core policy of this president, and we've got to do what we need to do to help him. Look, if we need to pass a law to let him do whatever he needs to do on tariffs, I'm all in.
Congressman, I'd love to get your reaction to your Democrat colleagues calling to censure you for saying that America is going to choose pet dogs over Muslim supremacy. In short, the Democrats also accusing you of racism. Your reaction to that, and do you at all regret having made those comments?
No, not in the least. Look, a major Muslim leader in New York said that dogs should be banned in New York because under Islamic law, they are unclean. People should not have them as indoor pets. And I simply said, if I have the choice between my dog and living next to people who don't want me to have a dog, then the choice is easy. And I don't regret that at all. In fact, I've filed a bill protecting the Puppies from Sharia Act to make sure that people have the right to own dogs.
I'm curious to kind of get your reaction to what you think President Trump will do on Iran, because if we're not going to strike Iran now, then, you know, there might be an opportunity lost here.
Iran is spending billions of dollars to try to create an intercontinental ballistic missile. There's only one reason they want an intercontinental ballistic missile. That is they can deliver a missile to hit the United States, because their missiles currently can't fly that far. That is a clear and present threat to the United States, particularly in a country that is run by Muslim terrorists.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
Just ahead on American Sunrise. Tonight is the night. President Trump slated to deliver the State of the Union address. What will the overall theme be? Who might boycott the event? And how will the world react to the president's message? We have coverage throughout the show. Plus, the future of Iran. Protests continue across the country as Islamic Republic prepares for another round of nuclear talks this week. U.S. military aircraft are on the ground in Israel as Netanyahu warns Iran of force they, quote, can't even imagine. We're breaking it down. Also later, more Epstein file fallout. Now the former UK ambassador Peter Mandelson has been arrested in the growing scandal. British authorities are investigating allegations of misconduct in public office following newly released documents. But why no U.S. arrests? That's what the public is wondering. We have those stories, so much more as American Sunrise starts right now.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
We have breaking news to share with you.
politics, President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrance.
And I'm Dr. Gina. Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Gina. We are live with you from the Palm Beaches. Let's bring in David Brody in Washington, D.C., Terrance Bates in our Denver newsroom. David, did you drop something already?
What do you mean, did I drop something
I don't know,
already?
I just heard this thud.
It's my glasses, thud. There you go. Good morning, Gina.
Dr.
Welcome
Gina,
back.
Good morning. Thank you.
What you heard was my jaw dropping when I saw your beautiful face and now that you're back. That's what
Nicely
you saw.
played.
Yes, very nicely played. I have to tell you, before we get to the show today, if you all have a chance to go to the Sphere to see the Eagles' Long Goodbye, their very last tour, I am telling you, it was otherworldly. It was like being inside the song. I've never experienced anything like this in my entire life. Well, David, you've been to the Sphere in Vegas. You saw the Wizard of Oz there. I saw the Wizard of Oz there the next day as well, and that was super cool. But seeing the Eagles, you really literally felt like you were inside the songs. I can't even explain. It was the coolest, most...
It's a 360 thing. I mean, the way they do it with... Yeah.
It must be like a mushroom trip. I haven't done a mushroom trip.
I was about to say.
But like in a good way, because you're not like on some kind of, not the mushroom trips are bad. Now I'm going to get all that feedback. But I'm just saying, to each his own. I'm just saying this was the closest thing I think I'll ever have to a really interesting drug trip. It was just, I was out of body for sure.
It's like a 2026 LSD trip. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm
not that I would know. Not that I would know.
I'm gonna go ahead and save us because now we've said that mushroom trips are pretty good, and Andy even invoked LSD. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
You're taking us out of context.
Trump has a State of the Union address tonight, you guys, and that's going to be interesting. And we are going to have the real State of the Union address right here on RAV, right, T?
That's right. In fact, some Democrats are going to be skipping the president's State of the Union. We're expecting, guys, that he's going to talk about the affordability crisis. He'll talk about the economy. And, of course, the president will use the stage, one would imagine, to tout all of his accomplishments so far in this second administration. What are your expectations, David? What is it that you want to hear? And do you even care that the Democrats aren't going to be there or that some Democrats won't be there?
No, I don't think the conversation around the dinner table is like, honey, have you heard Adam Schiff is not going to be there tonight? No. Who cares about that? And by the way, LOL, the speech is scheduled to be 90 minutes long. Yeah, right. And then throw in the applause lines. And, you know, I don't think any of us are out of there until about 11:30 tonight, 11:15 or so. So I think this will be a long one for sure. Look, I'll be honest with you. Can I just kind of sidetrack for a second and just say I'm really excited for the USA men's hockey team to be at the State of the Union tonight. I would love them to take the Democrat seats, but I don't think that's probably going to happen. The point is that they will be in the House, and that will be exciting. I'm telling you, that is going to be a moment tonight for sure.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, the women's team also has been invited. Unfortunately, they say there's a schedule conflict, and they won't be able to make it. So it would have been nice to have both the men and the women's gold medal teams, Dr. Gina.
All right, let's check out today's Bible verse. 1 Corinthians 13:12. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know just as I also am known. Can't wait for that moment to see him face to face. How amazing will that be? All right, let's bring in Tennessee Congressman John Rose. Congressman, what do you think? Let's lay odds, Congressman. Do you think the president will ad-lib or will he stick to the script tonight? What are the odds he goes off script tonight?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on American Sunrise. And I think it would be a pretty safe bet that he goes off script a little bit.
A little bit. What do you expect him to focus on? What do you expect the headlines to be tomorrow?
Well, I think he'll focus on the great American comeback. The State of the Union is good, and it's getting better. It has been a remarkable 13 months of this president's second term in office, working at a pace that is really unbelievable, and in contrast, such stark contrast to his predecessor, who slept his way through the 4 years of his presidency while nonetheless doing great harm to our country. And so this president jumped onto the job with both feet on the first day, a remarkable first day that was just a foreshadow of what was to come. And so it has been a really remarkable 13 months of seeing how much work this president can get done. His inexhaustible energy and approach to getting the country turned around has been remarkable. So we've seen that in everything from getting the border under control in very short order, to getting inflation tamed, to growing the American economy, opening markets for American products, raising wages for American workers, returning tax dollars to the American public, improving the lives of Americans all across this country, while also spreading freedom and liberty around the world.
Congressmen, Democrats will be sitting on their hands tonight. Some others won't even be there. They'll be protesting, yada, yada, yada. MAGA is with him by and large. But then the independents. We've seen these numbers come out. It's not just CNN, it's other polling as well, that they're cratering. His numbers among independents are not good this time around for the State of the Union. What's your reaction to that? What can he do there?
Well, I think the American people always want more, and there's a tendency to look at what the problems are right now and then blame the person who's in office. But we have to remember that the Biden administration and Democrats spent 4 years setting this fire,
President Trump comes on the scene as the fire chief. We've contained the fire over the last year, and we're putting it out. And you see that in the inflation numbers. You see that in the economic growth. You see that at the border. You see that as peace breaks out around the world. You see that as we have, Americans respected again around the world. And so I think the president is on the job, but it takes some time for that to filter down and be in the minds of the American people. They're still suffering from some of the, tragic missteps of the Biden administration.
Congressman, let's talk tariffs. I would imagine that President Trump is going to address the tariff situation in the Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs. But let's just be honest. Those tariffs and tariff policy have been critical in the president's handling of situations around the world. It is a key tool that he's used. What are you expecting him to say? How are you expecting the administration to change its policies or change its approach to tariffs? We've already seen some of that.
Well, I think the president is going to express his frustration with the Supreme Court, and it is disappointing to see the ruling that they came down with. I think the best answer would be for Congress to step up and give the president the authority he needs to continue to open markets and improve circumstances for American workers, getting us access to these markets around the world and creating more self-sufficiency here at home. That would be the best answer. But I think this president is determined, and so I think they will find a way to do what needs to get done, and so I look forward to that. It probably won't be as simple as it was under the previous authority that the president was using, but I think this president will fight through this and will find a way to work for the American public and work for American workers by getting markets open around the world.
The Hill reported that the former UK ambassador arrested amid scrutiny over Epstein ties. He was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Former Prince Andrew, of course, we all know, was also arrested. But if I looked at social media this weekend, all I saw was, and where are the U.S. arrests? There is a growing contingent, mostly MAGA, demanding arrests. Will we see them?
I don't know. I think that's a difficult journey to go down. Obviously, the information is out in the public domain, and I think we have seen what arguably would be one of the largest sex trafficking rings in American history uncovered, world history for that matter. But we have to keep it in perspective and keep in mind that over these last 4 years of the Biden administration, they had no appetite, no curiosity about the Epstein files when Democrats controlled them. And at the same time, they were allowing millions of illegals coming into this country, many of them trafficked children and women, and no curiosity about whether there being prosecutions or even investigations about that. The Trump administration has found well over 100,000 of the missing children. So I think you have to keep that in perspective. We want justice for the victims of Jeffrey Epstein and those who collaborated with him. But we should see that same curiosity, for example, for former President Clinton, who flew on Epstein's plane well over 20 times. What was he doing? What was his involvement? And the Democrats seem to have amnesia when it comes to many of these facts surrounding Jeffrey Epstein.
Congressman Rose, before we let you go, I'm just curious if you plan on bringing any special guests or if you've invited anyone for tonight's State of the Union.
Sure, I have a special guest from back home in Tennessee who is a prominent Tennessean, and I know he's looking forward to it. We're going to do Media Row later today and give him, as a Tennessean, a chance to answer questions from the media. Obviously a great opportunity, the toughest ticket in town tonight to be at the State of the Union address, and I know he's looking forward to seeing it as well.
Do you want to share who that person is? I'm sorry, I'm curious. Who is it?
His name is Chris Redlick.
Okay, Chris Redlick. Tell us just a little bit about Chris. You're being cryptic. I'm sorry. I'm nosy. Well, I've got to know who is.
Yeah, no, well, didn't mean to be. Chris is a fairly recent person moving to Tennessee, which is a common thing these days. He's escaped from California, coming to the free state of Tennessee, and he's a great businessman, very successful throughout life, and very interested in providing reform in the healthcare space and working diligently to make real changes there, and something that I'm interested in and something that the Republican Republican Congress is interested in, Republican-controlled House is interested in reforming our health care system to create more affordability for everyday Americans.
All right. Well, I don't know if you know this, Congressman, but we do a health segment every day. Maybe we'd be interested in having him on the show. So I'll let you talk to producers about that, and we'll look forward to seeing him tonight. Congressman John Rose, thank you so much for your time. Have a great time tonight.
Thanks, Congressman.
All right, coming up.
Thanks for having me on American Sunrise.
Pleasure. All right, coming up, we're going to check out the hottest headlines from the RAV newsroom with Terrance Bates. Also later, DHS funding battle. Now that lawmakers are back on the Hill, could we see a deal soon? And how could it affect you and your family? Find out these answers ahead on American Sunrise. Right back.
Running on empty, brain fog, can't focus, and those sugar-loaded energy drinks? Sure, they spike you fast, then crash you hard. Fix it with Soldier Fuel, the official energy drink of Real America's Voice. Soldier Fuel was born in the military to solve a real problem. Troops were relying on sugary drinks that wreck performance, so they built a better option. Zero sugar and steady energy, powered by caffeine, taurine, inositol, and extra B vitamins for clean energy and focus. No roller coaster crash. This isn't gas station hype. Soldier Fuel was built alongside the U.S. military and proven where it counts. Used by American soldiers and elite special operations.
This is really good.
And when you fuel up, you give back. 15% of profits go to pro-military charities. Scan the QR code, search for Soldier Fuel on Amazon, or go to buysoldierfuel.com and use promo code REALAmerica for 15% off.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now. This news break is brought to you by AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens.
U.S. Capitol, the State of the Union tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. Of course, our coverage, which we like to call, and is accurate, the real State of the Union, starting 7 p.m. Eastern here on Real America's Voice across the country. Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. I'm thinking to myself, wait, what's the name of the show? Oh, that's right, American Sunrise. I'm David Brody, and T. Bates is with us as well. Have you heard of him? I have. I co-host with him every day. He's got the latest headlines from the Real America's Voice newsroom, sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
President Trump is set to deliver the first State of the Union address of his second presidency tonight. You can watch it right here on Real America's Voice starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, with the speech itself starting at 9. On Monday, the president predicted that the speech would be a long one because, in his words, we have so much to talk about. Tonight's address comes as the commander-in-chief's approval rating is sliding and following the Supreme Court's ruling against the president's signature tariff policy. White House Director of Speechwriting Ross Worthington, along with the president's chief of staff Susie Wiles, deputy chief of staff for policy Stephen Miller, and press secretary Caroline Leavitt, are reportedly among those who helped craft tonight's speech. Dozens of Democrats plan to boycott tonight's presidential address. However, the party's leaders, including House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, are expected to attend. Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger will deliver the official Democrat response to the State of the Union. However, California Congressman Alex Padilla will give the party's Spanish rebuttal, and Pennsylvania Democrat Summer Lee will offer up a response from the progressive wing of the party. New York remains under a state of emergency as much of the Northeast is under nearly 3 feet of snow. Look at this video here. The potential blizzard, or the powerful blizzard, that dumped on the region is said to be the strongest in a decade. While public transportation in New York City was limited on Monday, by late last night, most subway lines were back operational, and riders are being warned to expect delays and longer wait times. Railroad service to Long Island and other parts of the city also just getting underway this morning, about 4 a.m. that started back. It is on a limited basis, though. Meantime, New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani under fire for requiring temporary shovelers who want to get paid to clear crosswalks, bus stops, and other areas to have 2 forms of ID, yet he doesn't support ID for voting. Yeah, you try to make sense of that. That's a quick check of your headlines. Now, let's get a quick check of your forecast with Weather Nation meteorologist Tracy Anthony. Tracy, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Terrance. I kept trying to start this video at the beginning because it's just so incredible of the sheer power of this storm system that impacted the Northeast coast. And I don't know about you, I've never lived in the Northeast along the coast there, but you can see the snow sticking to the houses. It's that heavy, wet snow, but the waves so aggressive, just crashing on shore. So they were dealing with the coastal flooding concerns, and Terrance, as you mentioned, heavy snow. So New York City, Central Park, 19 inches of snow. They hadn't been under a blizzard warning in 9 years. Now, we did have a handful of power outages throughout the last couple of days, slowly starting to see the power come back on, but we had winds up to 83 miles per hour here across the region. And in Boston, the police department had to get out the all-terrain vehicles just to do rescue missions. So this is going to take some time to clean up. Now, the good news is we do have warmer temperatures by the end of the week, but we do have one more system that's in the forecast that's going to be impacting areas of the Northeast by tomorrow morning. This is that Clipper system. So they're expecting another 1 to 3 inches on top of, in Warwick, Rhode Island, 37.9 inches of snow, Terrance.
Wow. All right, Tracy, we appreciate the forecast. Thanks so much. Up next, Iran on the brink. The Islamic Republic has seen new protests as students take to the streets chanting anti-regime slogans despite bloody crackdowns. Meanwhile, international pressure is also building around its nuclear negotiations with the United States. Where will this all go? We'll have some expert analysis next.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
Funky bump music, funky, All right, enough of that. That's the Capitol. The real State of the Union, our coverage tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern here on Real America's Voice. Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. While the Munich Security Conference was taking place last week, there was another major event that happened. Reza Pahlavi, the son of the last Shah of Iran, said he's prepared to help lead his country and transition it back to a secular, democratic society if the Islamic regime falls. Well, let's bring in now the U.S. Deputy Director for the National Council of Resistance of Iran. That would be, Alireza Jafarzadeh. I'll get it right one of these days. I'll figure it out. I need to practice it. Thanks for being here. So tell us a little bit about what's happening with Iran, because I want to bring you up to date on a couple of situations here. First of all, a U.S. plane actually landed in Israel. There's that, because basically that's going to be a potential real issue as it relates to the military possibly doing something there. And also, President Trump has come out just in the last few hours or so overnight saying that these reports that Raising Cane, the general there, is against attacking Iran is not true. So I'm curious to get your take as to where we stand this morning. Good morning.
Good morning to all of you. Definitely what's really happening in Iran has been very volatile since December, then the protests started. It never ended, even though the regime killed thousands in January, arrested over 50,000. For the past 4 days, the universities across Iran, particularly in Tehran, some of the top universities like Sharif University of Technology, which is equivalent to MIT, that's where the president-elect of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, Mrs. Rajavi, graduated from. That's also my school. Tehran University, a whole host of others. There were scenes of major protests confronting the Revolutionary Guards, chanting, "Death to Khamenei, death to the dictator, death to the oppressor, be it the Shah or the supreme leader, neither monarchy nor theocracy. We want democracy and equality," making it very clear that unlike the propaganda, the people of Iran are not going to go back to the dictatorship of the Shah. They are going for freedom, for democracy. This is the era to end any and all forms of repression in Iran. And you mentioned the son of the Shah being at the security conference. That was a disaster for him because he couldn't explain to reporters how different he is from his father, who had the secret police savak that put intellectuals in jail, had a single party rule, dissolved all political parties, was extremely corrupt and built the Evin prison that tortured prisoners, killed the students. None of that he could respond. So I think what happened in the universities and is in the past 1 month is a clear indication that the Iranian people are on the path to free themselves, regardless of what the rest of the world would do.
Ali Reza, I've got a two-part question for you. First, what would you like to see the U.S. government do? How would you like to see the Trump administration handle the situation in Iran? And secondly, should other Middle Eastern countries, particularly Muslim-majority countries in that region, have more buy-in? Should they be more involved in what happens in Iran? While we know that likely won't happen, should there be more buy-in from those other Muslim-majority countries in the region?
Well, first of all, speaking of the Muslim-majority countries, I think they understand that the biggest threat to their survival, to their society, to everything they stand for has come actually from Tehran. The Iran regime is the head of the snake of war and terror, not just in that part of the world, but everywhere else. So they have an interest to see change in Iran. But obviously, they were so afraid over the past decades because they were afraid of being the target of the Iran regime's terrorism. But one must understand the whole situation has changed. The Iran regime doesn't have the luxury of those proxies that they relied on, you know, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, Shia militias in Iraq, and their biggest ally in the region, Assad, is gone. So a lot of that cloud that they had is gone or been shattered. But most importantly, I think the message for all of them is that inside Iran, the people of Iran have rejected now. What the U.S. and the Western nations should do, I think at the end of the day, no matter what they do, the only way you can end the threat of the Iran regime is to end the rule of the clerics by the Iranian people. That's happening on the ground. So what the U.S. should do, should side with those who are confronting Revolutionary Guards. You know, there are resistance units on the ground in Iran belonging to the main Iranian opposition known as the MEK that are confronting the Revolutionary Guards. They need to be recognized for their fight to end the rule of the clerics.
Okay, so we have to run, but you say side with them. So how does that look? So you're saying no military intervention at all? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that at the end of the day, what is really going to resolve the issue is the force on the ground. Those are the people, Iranians, who are actually fighting the regime. They should recognize that Iran does have an alternative. Those who have been fighting the regime for 4 decades, you recognize their rights, you stand on their side, you make specific statements in support of them and against the regime when the regime kills them.
Got it. Alireza Javarzadeh, thanks for being here. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks, always a pleasure.
All right, coming up, President Trump slated to give that State of the Union address tonight. Iran obviously will be addressed. Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan offers his predictions on what he'll say. The congressman coming next on American Sunrise.
President of the United States.
It's been an incredible year for America. The Dow hitting record highs, the border secured, cartels in shambles. Dictators captured, wars brought to an end.
America is back.
And the United States respected again around the world. Now, Donald J. Trump delivers his next State of the Union address, laying out the victories and the bold vision for what comes next.
The American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before.
America now has a strong president, unlike the other guy.
Well, we saved the planet from the climate crisis.
Are you stupid?
Live coverage starts this Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss the real State of the Union on Real America's Voice.
It will be like nothing that has ever been seen before.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play. Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
All right, welcome back to American Sunrise. President Trump set to deliver his State of the Union address as he builds momentum heading into midterm elections. President Trump will reportedly focus on America First policies and is expected to highlight job creation, border security, energy independence, and that thriving Trump economy. Supporters say the speech will lay out a bold vision to keep America great and to fire up voters ahead of November. Let's bring in the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. Congressman, great to have you.
You bet. Good to be with you guys.
Yeah, really great to have you. What are your great expectations for tonight? What do you think the headline takeaway will be tomorrow?
Well, I think the president's going to talk about what we've accomplished. I always say we make this job way too complicated. It's pretty basic. What did you tell the voters you were going to do when you ran for the job, when you put your name on a ballot? If you get elected, go do what you said, and President Trump has certainly done that. We said we'd cut taxes, we did. We said we would secure the border, we did. We said we'd give school choice to parents. First time in the federal tax code, we have that component. President Trump said he'd stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons. He did that. So there's a whole list of things that I think he'll rattle off and talk about how we have done what we told the voters we're going to do, how America's better off, the greatest country ever, 250 years. And then I think he'll also talk about what we need to do if, in fact, we can win these midterms, which I think we will. Things we can do on housing, on the cost of health care. And then finally, I do think it's important that we always remind the voters how crazy the left is. Every policy the left has, every position they have is crazy. It's crazy to defund the police. It's crazy not to have a border, which was a situation under Biden. It's crazy to say men should compete against women in sports. It is crazy to shut down the government for 43 days. It's crazy to say you want to abolish ICE. So I think we remind him of that. But again, talk about the fact that for 250 years, this is the best place ever.
Congressman, to your point, the left is going to be screaming their craziness from the rafters, as many of your colleagues aren't expected to be there. They'll be boycotting. Put into perspective for us, though, how important tonight's speech is in terms of creating a tone or setting the tone for the upcoming midterms. Because let's just be honest, that is the big prize. We've got to continue the current majorities in order to be able to push this America First and MAGA agenda forward.
Yeah, I think it's also just like this is as close to pageantry as we have in this country. Best nation ever. We don't have the monarchy like the UK or another place, but we have the State of the Union. It's an important event. I go to every one, and so these Democrats who are going to skip it, I don't get that. I mean, I went when it was Obama, I went when it was Biden, and of course I've been there when it was President Trump. It's an important night where the leader of our country can talk to the people in a direct way about what's important, the State of the Union, what we've accomplished, what matters to families and moms and dads and people across this great nation. So I think it's an important night. If the Democrats are going to play their games, they're going to play their games. But I think the country sees through all that, and they appreciate the leadership, I believe. Deep down, they appreciate the leadership of President Trump.
Congressman, you said, I think just earlier, you said, I think we will win the midterm elections. Lay out the case as to why. I know you mentioned some of the accomplishments, but I'm talking about why you feel confident that this thing will turn around. And I say turn around because I'm looking at some of the polling among independents, specifically independents, not necessarily on the president's side right now. So how do you get that dynamic turned around?
I think two things. I think the economy will continue to improve. You know, we had a quarter last fall where we were at 4.4% growth, amazing growth rate. Wasn't quite as good the following quarter. But I do think with the big, beautiful bill, the tax cuts and the regulatory reforms we made there, that will start to kick in and help our economy. We know the stock market's off the charts. So I think that will help and that have an impact on working families across the country. So I think they'll start to see that. And then, as I said before, I think it's critical. We have to remind the voters the left is crazy. Not all Democrats are crazy, but the left that controls their party is. And as I said before, you can pick any. Here's one. Sanctuary, almost a third of the country now lives in a sanctuary jurisdiction, which means local left-wing leaders tell their local law enforcement not to work with federal law enforcement when they have a illegal migrant in jail for another crime. They'll release that individual to the street instead of turning them over to federal law enforcement. That is just stupid. But that is the policy situation for 31.5% of the country, almost a third of the nation in jurisdictions that have that ridiculous policy. So I think we have to, again, remind the country that the left is crazy. And if you put them Democrats back in power, they will move to those left-wing positions and push the crazy stuff that we've seen before.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, men can get pregnant, apparently, according to the left, but that's another one. So
very interesting. Yeah, you know, you're right. It is just lunacy happening on the left, Congressman. But it seems like the American public sort of somehow overlooks it or misses it. The media, in a lot of cases, not this case, but in a lot of cases, doesn't report it. We have thousands of people dead from criminal illegal aliens. We have a few people dead who went to actually single digits, who went to protests, acted badly, and ended up getting killed. And those are the people, not the innocent children, Congressman, who died at the hands of illegal criminal aliens, but the people who went to a protest, behaved badly, and ended up getting hurt in the process of it. Congressman, how do we explain to the American people how completely messed up that is?
Well, it's all tragic. I mean, what happened in Minneapolis with Mr. Petty and Renee Good, tragic situation. But I would argue that the left's position foster an environment where those kind of bad things, tragic things can happen. I mean, you think about ICE agents have been doxxed, they've been tracked, they've been spit on, they've been attacked, trying to do their job to enforce federal law enforcement. They've been interfered with time and time again. So that's the situation that's created. And as I said before, these sanctuary jurisdictions. We're going to mark up a bill next week out of our committee that will that'll put an end to that. That's trying to stop the sanctuary concept from happening around the country. So yeah, that is the left's position, and it makes absolutely no sense. And when you walk people through it, 460 times last year in the state of Minnesota, an illegal migrant who was also charged with another crime was released to the streets instead of turned over to ICE. Even when ICE had notified the jail, notified the detention center, can you turn them over to us instead of releasing to the streets? They would say no. We would just give ICE the finger and say, no, we're going to release them to the streets. Go get them out on the streets, which, again, creates this terrible environment, this tough environment where bad things happen. It happened 7,000 times in the state of New York last year, over 17,000 times that we know of around the country. Again, that is stupid when you can have one agent come to the jail, hand them over with one agent versus sending out dozens on the street to try to round up a guy who's here illegally and also been charged with another crime. Makes no sense. So this is why this legislation we're going to push is important, and why I think, again, we tell the voters the left is for the crazy policies, we're for common sense.
All right, Congressman, you hooked me. So give us some more details on this legislation that you're going to be marking up next week.
Well, it looks at, it would say one thing, federal law would preempt, which should be the case anyway, but federal law would preempt state law when it's a sanctuary jurisdiction. It also says if you're going to be a sanctuary jurisdiction, there'll be certain federal funds you may not be able to get if you're going to do that. So it's trying to incentivize. And then if you are a local law enforcement and you do cooperate with ICE and your state, because maybe you're a sanctuary state, they come after you, federal government will step in and represent you in that situation. So we're trying to lay out all different kind of scenarios where we can protect people who actually want to do the common sense thing and work with. You probably have a local sheriff, local police officer, or police chief who wants to work with the federal government, but yet their city, 18 cities, 11 states, 3 counties, and the District of Columbia are all sanctuary jurisdictions. But there's lots of people in those jurisdictions who actually want to work with ICE, who want to work with federal government when they're enforcing federal law. So this bill is designed to make sure that can happen.
Congressman, a quick update on DHS funding. Where are we at on that exactly?
No change. I mean, again, this is one more thing with the left shut down the government for 43 days last fall. That's crazy. They're doing it again now for the policies I just been talking about. So another crazy position of the left, but there's no change from where it was a few weeks ago. They put out a list, I guess, a week and a half ago. Senator Schumer and Leader Jeffries put out a list of certain demands they wanted. Some of those can make some sense, but if you don't address the sanctuary jurisdiction issue, I don't know how we can deal with some of those other things.
House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, we appreciate you being with us today. Enjoy the State of the Union tonight.
You bet.
Thanks so much, Congressman.
Thank you.
Coming up, California Governor Gavin Newsom, he's at it again. This time, it's what he said in front of an African-American audience that is making headlines. Are you curious? We have his comments coming up next on American Sunrise.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play. Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. It is now time to stay awake, not woke. And who is woke today, you ask? Well, it would be California Governor Gavin Newsom. The Golden State's fallen golden boy facing backlash over a viral clip from his Atlanta book tour. In the video, Newsom tells Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens, quote, "I'm like you." He then goes on to mention his low SAT score. Newsom later responded to the outrage about his remarks, arguing that the real issue he was trying to address is his lifelong struggle with dyslexia. Here are his remarks for yourself, and let us know if you are buying what the governor is selling.
I'm not I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy. And I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech. Maybe the wrong business to be in.
All right, let's bring in Dr. Gina and David, get their perspective on what you just heard there. Dr. Gina, the word pandering comes to mind, but your thoughts?
I don't know. Pandering for sure. I just thought it was completely rude, and a lot of people are trying to make a racial issue out of it. I'm just being honest. I don't know that I see that. However, where the tables turned, David, was this a Republican governor? Can you imagine the outrage from Gavin Newsom calling that Republican governor a racist? That's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing. It's just there's always two sides to this, and the media never acknowledges that.
Well, in a shocking turn of events, President Trump had something to say about this. He always keeps so quiet. Just kidding. Here's what he said. Yeah, Gavin Newsom just dropped out of the presidential race, President DJT, after seeing that video. I think there's a lot of validity to that. Obviously, he didn't drop out of the race because the race hasn't started yet, even though it kind of has. But the point is that this type of stuff is really what's going to do Newsom in. And quite frankly, the hypocritical, I shouldn't say, excuse me, not hypocritical, the duplicity actually here with Gavin Newsom, because he says that there. And then there's another clip that just dropped from an interview he did like a few months ago where he's saying, I read a book, a 260-page book in an hour and a half. So that's pretty good for a 960 SAT guy. I mean, look, this guy is all over the place. T. Bates, what's your reaction to what we saw?
So I've been reading a lot about this and praying on it, quite honestly, before I responded. And I'll give context. Mayor Dickens, the mayor of Atlanta, who Gavin Newsom was directly speaking to, has come out and said that he didn't see the comments as being racist, that he saw this as the governor being vulnerable. I think it was an unfortunate choice. That's what he said. He was the comments were directed to him. I think it was definitely an unfortunate choice of words, particularly given the audience. I think if he were trying to make a comment about him just being a regular person and him having flaws and challenges like everyone else, he probably could have communicated that in a much different way. Sometimes you have to know the audience, and given the audience and what was said, I think it naturally was going to be seen a certain way and going to be taken as racist. I can't speak to his intent, but I can speak to how it likely was interpreted by many. And so he failed in that respect. That's the diplomatic way of putting it.
That's fair. It did not land well. It did not land well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Are we done? Are we done? Are we done?
That's all I got on that one. I think, he wasn't a smart choice, particularly given the audience. Our bosses told me in the past, read the room. So typically when I say something, I try to read the room, and he should have read the room. Maybe our boss should have talked to him before that and said, read the room.
But Terrance, do you think do you think that's how that audience, that commentator, the media would have reacted were this a Republican president that had said the same thing to the same audience?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think there would have been a different reaction. And quite honestly, had it been any white person speaking to that audience and to Mayor Dickens, I suspect that calls of racism would have probably been pretty prominent. And it's just unfortunate, but I think that's probably the reality. Just my 2 cents.
I think even if it had been a black Republican, they'd have screamed racism.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I think if a black Republican went and said that to a predominantly black audience, I think that the left and the media would have screamed that he was an Uncle Tom racist. They do it all the time to all of our black Republicans.
Could be. I don't know. I definitely know I would be pretty confident in saying, had it been any white person, be it Democrat or Republican, the response probably would have been similar. Anyway, coming up, President Trump's record on faith. How should he be graded? White House Faith Council member Pastor Jackson Lohmeyer will give us his answer next here on American Sunrise.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play. Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
God bless the USA.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Time now for our Moments of Faith, brought to us by Lee Greenwood and the God Bless the USA Bible. In focus today, President Trump's dedication to faith-based causes. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth praised Trump in that respect during his speech at the National Religious Broadcasters Conference. Take a look at this.
Every day, he's a fierce defender of Christians and people of faith, from college campuses to the country of Nigeria to everything in between. We had ISIS had a different kind of Christmas day in Nigeria. President Trump fights for religious liberty and combats anti-Christian bias every single day. He supports religious charter schools and tax exemptions for religious groups. He protects religious expression and affirms Christianity and its roots in America.
For more, let's bring in Pastor Jackson Lohmeyer of the White House Faith Council. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Want to get your reaction to Hegseth's remarks there. I mean, President Trump has put an emphasis and really prioritized faith in America throughout his entire presidency. I mean, he's the one that started the White House Faith Office. It's incredible to see.
It is, isn't it? And isn't it amazing, though, that this is the first time there's ever been a faith office in the White House, and that's under the Trump administration. And so, you know, President Trump has said, I want pastors at the White House. And over the last year, you know, over 2,000 pastors have been brought up to the White House to pray, to worship, to saturate 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in the presence of God. And, you know, you see now the president saying that we're going to rededicate the United States of America back to God, because, we drifted away, unfortunately, under Barack Obama and Joe Biden. And so we have a president that's course correcting our nation, and we're seeing it in tangible results, though. You see young men are outpacing young women to church for the first time in ever. Bible sales are at record highs. Christian music downloads on Spotify have skyrocketed. So there's this ripple effect that when the commander-in-chief from Washington, D.C. makes a proclamation, our nation's coming back under the rulership of King Jesus. Well, now we're seeing this ripple effect taking place. Church attendance is up. All these different metrics that you can measure by, God's doing something in America. And I think a lot of it has to do with what God is doing through President Trump.
Absolutely. God is certainly working some miracles through President Trump in America. I mean, that is evidence. Those are hard facts, especially that young people are coming back to the church. Like you said, Bible sales are up. This course correcting that you talked about is certainly underway. What more do you think President Trump should be doing in the next few years of his presidency to ensure that faith is at the forefront of Americans' minds moving forward?
Well, I think continue doing what he is doing. And then I know just from personally talking to the president, one of his goals, and it's going to be a tough one, is to remove the Johnson Amendment, which is something that the left has always used against Republican Christians. You can bring a Democrat to a church and they can speak, but it becomes a problem. But if a Republican brings someone to their church, it's an issue. And so the Johnson Amendment, I think, could be a lasting legacy if President Trump could get that through the Senate, undone, completely done away with. It'd be a beautiful thing.
Well, Pastor Jackson Lohmeyer, we so appreciate you being with us this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll be back with the second hour of American Sunrise in just 2 minutes. Stick around.
Introducing the limited edition God Bless the USA Bible, inspired by Lee Greenwood's hit song and the most recognized patriotic anthem in America, God Bless the USA. The God Bless the USA large print leather-bound King James Bible also contains America's founding documents, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance, along with a handwritten chorus to Lee Greenwood's song, God Bless the USA. With its large print and slim design, this Bible invites you to explore God's Word anywhere, anytime. The God Bless the USA Bible makes the perfect gift and cherished family heirloom keepsake to pass on to future generations. Designed for an easy reading experience in the trusted King James Version translation, this large print Bible is perfect to take to church, Bible study, work, and for traveling. Order yours today at GodBlessTheUSABible.com.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play. Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend. friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrance.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second hour of American Sunrise. I'm David Brody, coming to you from D.C. Let's bring in Dr. G in West Palm, T. Bates in our Denver newsroom. Good morning. It's State of the Union Day. Yippee! What are we going to do? What should we do? Should we have a party? Let's tune into Real America's Voice, Gina, tonight, 7 p.m.
100%.
The real State of the Union.
100%. Yep. It's going to be a special night. I mean, as you said, I think it was, David, who did say that we don't really have pageantry in the United States like royal pageantry?
That was
Jim Jordan.
That was Congressman Jim Jordan.
That's a good point.
It was a great point.
Very good point.
I never thought of it like that. It was in my head, but I never actually thought about it that concisely. And so, no, it is a special night. It's a special thing. And it will be minced apart, taken apart, and dissected by all of media, including us. And we'll all be reporting tomorrow on exactly what we saw.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the various points the president addresses. And I'm also interested in the tone, particularly when it comes to tariffs and when the president addresses the Supreme Court. I suspect he will have a bit more aggressive or pointed tone when he talks to some of those Supreme Court justices. So I have my popcorn ready. I'm very curious to see how this ultimately plays out, David.
Yeah, well, the Democrats will have their T-shirts ready. I'm sure, they all come, let's get our anti-Trump T-shirts or whatever they're going to do, anti-ICE, I don't know. Let's get more analysis with the editor-in-chief for Just the News. That would be our good friend, John Solomon. John, what do you expect tonight? Take it away.
I expect classic Donald Trump. There'll be barbs, there'll be humor, there'll be a salute to America with our hockey winning team. And I suspect when he confronts the 9 justices, he'll say to the American public, listen, just a year ago, the guys over there, the 20 hockey players that won gold, lost by a single goal in the Nation of 4 hockey tournament. They didn't give up. They came right back, and they won in overtime fashion. They won gold. That's how I view the situation with the Supreme Court. All right, they struck me down. They said, hey, show me a law that does give you the authority. I got 4 laws. I'm coming back at you, justices, and this time we're going to win. I think he'll wrap himself in a sort of a positive and witty way when it comes to that sort of interaction with the justices. He's going to talk about the economy, what he's accomplished, but the fact that he's not satisfied, not until interest rates are back down to 2% and 3%, gas is at $2, and houses become affordable again. There'll be some housing affordability ideas inserted into this that they've been working on for several months. That's aimed at the young people of America. But I think you'll hear an optimistic president who thinks he's done a lot but isn't satisfied with what he's done, and laying out a lot of new ideas for the second year. This will be an ideas-filled speech, and I think that's what the American people want. They don't want recriminations. They don't want complaints that the Senate didn't do this and the House didn't do that and the justices didn't do this. They want to hear how you're going to get around this, Mr. President, and I think the president's going to deliver on that tonight.
John, let me just do a quick follow-up about the Supreme Court justices. Do you think, you mentioned witty, who knows exactly how he's going to do it, but they're going to be right there, as Bob Uecker would say, in the front row, and I'm wondering if he's going to look at them. I'm wondering if he's going, is this where he goes off prompter? And he'll go off, we know he's going to go off prompter in other places, but will he go off prompter and look at them and maybe in a joking way or some sort of aside going, you're killing me, guys, you're killing me? I don't know. I just feel like there could be something there, John.
He's never going to miss a showman's moment with those guys sitting there. But I think what he'll probably try to do is portray them, the black robe class with the marble asylum class, as the elitists who for 3 decades ignored what happened in America as the American workers' job and wages and opportunities declined to the benefit of China and other enemies of our country. And I think he'll remind people, we've been treating China like a third world country when it's a first world superpower, economic superpower. It's silly to do that. I'm not going to let the guys in black robes or the suits in the marble asylum dictate any longer the failure of American workers. I'm here for you. And I think he'll wrap himself in that. I think he'll be a little bit more optimistic. And I want to show everybody or just pay attention to how he acted over the weekend. He was hopping mad on Friday night into Saturday morning. Then we had a story on Just the News, which, by the way, we know the president read. Yeah, he texted me about it, and then he socialized it. And that story said, listen, that while the Supreme Court closed the door, the front door that Donald Trump went through for tariffs, they opened a back window for him to prevail. That back window is all the Supreme Court wants is a law that explicitly gave the president the power to impose tariffs from Congress. There are 4 such laws we identified. Since that time, the president's tone has shifted a little bit. And you saw him in the last 48 hours talking about, we can do this. We've got other ways to do this. I think his focal point changed. I think he's a little bit more optimistic, and he's starting to look at the Supreme Court ruling more as a challenge and an opportunity to come back and get it right than they just ruined my entire economic agenda. And I think that's going to be important to see if you see that tonality in his pitch tonight.
And John, to your point, there are several congressional opportunities out there for President Trump to continue his tariff policies, even if just kind of under a different tool or from a different toolbox. But are you expecting the president to even call on Congress tonight in this stage to do even more, to give him more leeway, more bandwidth to use tariffs? Will that be part of the speech?
I think he'll say, listen, they're clearly working. Look at the deals and investment we got in the first year. I know you are all doubters. I get it. But get on board. I think he'll be inviting to the members of Congress. He's also going to invite those senators. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to fix our election system with voter ID and citizenship checks. It's easy. I wouldn't be surprised if he had an idea to make it even easier to get to voter ID and take away some of the demagoguery of the Democrats. Maybe an idea like, hey, we can help every state update those brand new real ID voter licenses to say whether you're a citizen or not. Take just a couple bucks to do that, and then nobody has an excuse. We got to keep our driver's licenses all day. Got to have your voter IDs all day. Just go use those. And I think he'll put some ideas, but I think he'll try to extend in classic Donald Trump. There'll be a few slaps on the back of the head and then a few invites to come in and say, hey, join me on this. I think the argument he makes is, listen, I know everybody was dubious. We did it. Look at what we achieved. If you hold the line with me for a couple of years, we will all have trade deals that are much better. We won't need tariffs in the future. I think that's the sort of tonality you'll hear on that issue tonight.
John, it's a little bit embarrassing, this sort of sophomoric reaction of Democrats to say every time, oh, we're just going to protest the State of the Union address. Have Republicans ever done that?
No, they haven't. Obviously, Joe Wilson famously shouted out, "You lie," one time in the State of the Union. But in general, they haven't, because the Republicans have been leading with ideas. They've always had an idea. You may disagree with the Republicans, but you can't deny that they've been putting ideas on the table. Empowerment zones back in the 90s to solve urban blight. School choice to bring the education system out of its 20, 30-year decline. No tax on tips to help the working class get back on their feet after the pandemic. The Democrats are the idealist party right now. All they can do is demagogue and protest. And I think the American people are tired of the performance, which is, it's all entertaining. We love your antics. But you know what? It doesn't make the situation at my dinner table or my water cooler any better. I want people that are going to step into the void and do the right thing. And by the way, leading into this, the opportunity for Democrats to make the case against voter ID backfired on them spectacularly. You have Mandami in New York requiring workers who want to get a shovel the snow job having to bring their Social Security card and voter ID. Nobody accused him on the Democratic side of engaging in Jim Crow 2.0. You had Gavin Newsom suggesting that because he was in a black audience, they must be an underperforming group of academics. That backfired spectacularly. The era of pandering and protest, which has really been the leading edge of the Democratic Party since the AOC movement, is wearing on the American people. They don't want protests and pandering anymore. They want real solutions. And I think the difference tonight will be a party on the left that protests and whines and complains and claims everybody's a victim, and a president that puts 20, 30, 40 new ideas on the table and says, let's go, let's get her done.
Yeah, John, the president obviously going to talk about Iran tonight and Israel and all of that. President Trump calling the Wall Street Journal's reporting on General Daniel Raising Cain fake news. He actually came out in response to that report saying that the Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman is deeply opposed to military action against Iran. He warned,
that's right,
apparently, that it would deplete air defenses and lead to mass casualties. But Trump is saying, come on, give me a break. He says, he wrote, quote, General Cain, like all of us, would like not to see war, but if a decision is made on going against Iran at a military level, it is his opinion that it will be something easily won. How do you read that exactly?
I think I read that like almost everything in the last decade in the mainstream media, the narrative in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, CNN is Donald Trump has a problem. Nobody trusts him. He's a failure. He's going to bring us into nuclear war 3 and World War 3. And by now, it hasn't happened. In fact, all the things in the predictions so far, he wasn't a Russian spy. He didn't say the things he was accused of in the Ukrainian document. There were real problems in the 2020 election. We now know that. I think these leaks are designed to weaken the president, but the White House is smart enough not to take the debate. They immediately rebut them, and then they show a united front. Donald Trump has an extraordinary, probably the best relationship he's had with any of his chairmen of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He and Cain get along great. By the way, part of planning for something this big is to have a debate to make sure you understand the risks, the opportunities. That's just a normal war planning process. And by the way, you didn't see Dan Cain stop and say, boy, that Venezuela mission, that's too risky, or that nuclear mission, that's too risky. No, they execute it, because that's what the men and women in our uniforms do every day. They will have a plan. The president will decide if it's the right plan, and he'll either execute or he'll negotiate more. I don't think there's much friction behind the scenes. I don't see it at all.
John Solomon, you'll be part of the Real State of the Union coverage starting at 7 p.m. tonight on Real America's Voice. This is a day to get a nap, but you never nap. So
this is a fun day. Got to get excited on a day like this.
Yeah, I'll be napping by 11 a.m., but thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
Love your show, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate it. All right, coming up, doctors say colon cancer cases are actually skyrocketing among younger adults, and too many cases are caught way too late. Now, there's some high-profile cases that are putting a spotlight on early detection. We'll talk about it after the break.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play. Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
That's Little Italy. David Brody and I could do some very serious pasta eating in that location, in case you all are curious. If Zen Master wants to send David Brody and I there to demonstrate our skills, I guarantee you it would be television worthy. Welcome back to American Sunrise. It is now time for our Moment of Health, sponsored by the Wellness Company and Under the Microscope. Today, Americans being warned about a sharp and really alarming rise in colon cancer among younger adults. And doctors say too many cases are being caught too late. Health experts now say colorectal cancer is the leading cancer killer of Americans under 50, with cases and deaths climbing steadily over the past decade. The recent deaths of actors Chadwick Boseman and James Van Der Beek are bringing new urgency to the warning. Physicians are urging earlier screening, better diets, greater awareness, saying early detection can save lives and prevent tragedy. Joining us now with somebody that I think will know a lot more about this than the media and the mainstream medicine, Big Med, is telling us. That is Dr. James Thorpe from the Wellness Company. Dr. Thorpe, good morning. Dr. Thorpe, we look at things like this big glyphosate controversy that's been out there. We know that they're putting this in our foods. We'll get to the part about President Trump saying that it doesn't have to be completely eliminated, at least not right now, and sort of a hat tip to our farmers for the moment. But could it be that? Could it be the mass vaccinations? Because this isn't a thing. This wasn't a thing 3 decades ago. So what's causing it?
What's causing the large increase in cancer, you're asking?
Yeah, especially in younger people, the turbo cancers and everything else.
Very clearly, what's caused it, Gina, is the poison COVID-19 vaccines. Listen, we've vaccinated over 5.5 billion people on this planet with over 13 plus billion shots. This was a genetic therapy that essentially cripples the immune system, maybe for life. It's very clear now from very large country-wide data, including Italy, including South Korea. We're talking about over 8 million people. You can't do better than that. And when you look at the dosings, it substantially increases 6 or 7 different cancers: breast, colon, pancreatic, prostate, and others. There's now no debate about it. So this syndrome caused by the vaccine is VAIDS, vaccine-acquired immune deficiency syndrome, VAIDS. Mm-hmm. It is real. It is proven by the Italian study and also the nationwide study in South Korea. Over 8 million participants.
Wow. And we hear almost nothing about that in our corporate media. But Dr. Thorpe, I want to ask you, because there's been a lot of skepticism of late regarding some early detection practices for some cancers. For example, breast cancer. They're saying now, gosh, those mammograms, those horrible torture devices they put women in for all these years might have caused as many problems as they solved. And they're saying there are new things out you can do. Instead of having a mammogram, you can have an ultrasound, a Doppler. There are new solutions. What about pre-detection for a colorectal cancer? Are those pre-detection tests safe?
You know, I think that there's always risk to a colonoscopy. You know, you're going under anesthesia. So there's always risks, especially with pre-existing health risks. And never mind the fact that the preparation, as you know, is a PITA, as for any of those who has had them. And, you know, general recommendation, periodically at age 45 for men and for women. The mammogram is controversial. There are some experts. Christiane Northrup, MD, for example, is a longstanding OBGYN who suggests it is harmful and increases the risk of breast cancer. And you're right, that there are many other modalities, including thermography, ultrasound, and others.
Yeah. Well, and also solutions. You know, we've heard a lot of controversy, especially as more data has come out under this MAHA generation regarding treatments for cancers. And now we're hearing a lot of credibility given to something that a lot of us who were called conspiracy theorists have been saying for a long time about ivermectin, about fenbendazole, about and the wellness company has an amazing product called Shield. Talk to us about these more holistic solutions.
Sure. Well, let's be clear. There are no randomized, double-blinded, placebo-controlled trial for any of these botanicals of Shield or the mebendazole and the ivermectin. But there are also no randomized, double-blinded, placebo-controlled trials for any of the vaccines on the schedule. So, you know, let's, you know, people saying that they're unsubstantiated is kind of like the pot calling the kettle black, so to speak. There are science and data behind the use of ivermectin and also behind the use of mebendazole. These are anecdotal cases from all over the world. People, doctors, physicians claiming that it has cured stage 4 cancers when traditional modalities have failed, including chemotherapy, radiation therapy, and surgery. When they're given up to dead, they go home and try these, and 6 months later, they're cured. Crazy. You know, with regard to Shield, it's more of a preventative. It's composed of 9 botanicals. These are safe. Yes, the wellness company is marketing those. They're not making any false claims about preventing, you know, for sure preventing cancer or treating it, for sure not treating it. But there is very promising data between among each of the botanicals, the 9 botanicals in the supplement.
Yeah, solid research behind it, for sure, because those are things that I was taking before. It's just nice to have it all in one place in the Shield product. Dr. James Thorpe, we always appreciate everything you and the wellness company are doing. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Gina.
Absolutely.
Have a blessed day.
God bless.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you. February is National Cancer Prevention Awareness Month. Now more than ever, you want to be asking what you can do to lower your chances of cancer. And so if you or a loved one is battling cancer, you want to make sure that no stone is left unturned. That's where the Wellness Company comes in. You know the Wellness Company. We have their great doctors like Dr. Thorpe, Dr. Kelly Victory, Dr. Peter McCullough on here all the time. The Wellness Company and their doctors are professionals, so you know you can trust them. The Wellness Company is committed to providing safe, low-cost alternatives to big pharma. Things like ivermectin, methylene blue, fantastic new product we were just discussing with Dr. Thorpe, Shield it's called. So much more. The Wellness Company gives you the chance to make sure the promise of the MAHA movement is a reality for you and your family. This February, let's take control of our health. Go to twc.health/RAV. Give it an order. That's twc.health/RAV. Use the promo code RAV. That'll save you 10%. Prepare now. Don't wait. All right, there is more American Sunrise coming up. Stay right where you are.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
It was the cover.
Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty.
Everybody needs to pray for Charlotte.
Here's a look at New York. This is obviously not live because otherwise there would be snow covering everything. It is a snowy morning there in New York. We'll, of course, get more information on that. We'll also be taking you here for the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. That's set to happen here in just a few minutes. Again, we'll take you there live. Here's an indication of what you might expect. Now, let's get you over to David Brody, though, as we've got a lot to talk about. David, New York, looking a little different than we're used to.
That is for sure, T. Bates. You know, hundreds of Muslims gathered in Times Square recently over the weekend for this mass Ramadan prayer, turning one of the world's busiest intersections into a temporary worship site. There are videos now online. You may have seen some of them. They're organized rows of worshipers filling the area, drawing crowds of tourists and critics, of course, who question whether major public spaces like Times Square should host religious services. City officials say no violations have been announced. But the video serves as a stunning visual that underscores how drastically New York City has changed. Let's talk about this with Gina, and hopefully we'll show you some of that video here shortly. But look, these are hundreds and actually over 1,000 or so Muslims, Gina, in New York City worshiping. And my understanding is there's converts. There were converts there, people basically converting to Islam right on the streets of New York, all, of course, after 9/11. I mean, what I can't even imagine. I'm just curious to get your reaction to all of this. Oh, Gina, hello.
Sorry about that.
I'd like to hear from you. Yeah, now I hear you.
Now you can hear me. I'm not sure there's much that I can say on television to represent my true thoughts on this. I think this is a crisis in our history. This is really a moment of demanding true moral clarity for those who have any. Islamism, at least in its radical forms, is incompatible with Western culture. This has been proven again and again. Look, there are countries, and I've said this many times, countries all over the world that are Islamic, where folks can live and go and do what they want to do. But to have this demonstration in New York City, right exactly where 9/11 took place, as you admitted, as you pointed to have, and you know, we're beginning to see it more and more, and to see Sharia law instated, and to see the complicity of the media. David, this is all really a moment in our history that we better wise up to.
We must wise up to it. Let's listen in. Just listen, think about it. This is in the streets of New York. Listen. Well, they didn't pause in real time, but you get the idea. Anyhow, it's bad. And you're right. We have to wise up for sure. And by the way, we know that Mamdani is Muslim. He was sworn in on the Quran, and we can go on and on about that. All right.
Yeah, I have to tell you, David, I had a friend this weekend who sent me, he could hear the Navy playing the Star Spangled Banner in the neighborhood he's in, and sent me that in contrast to this. And I thought, wow.
Yeah. There's the contrast.
There's the contrast.
For sure. All right. T. Bates time. Well, let's go and get the opening bell. It's sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
David putting the pressure on me, saying it's T. Bates time. Now I've got to really make sure that I deliver here. You hear the applause, which is underway at the New York Stock Exchange, which means the opening bell is going to ring here in short order. And then we'll get an idea of how the markets are looking on this Tuesday of trading. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The opening bell is 3, 2, and 1. There you have it. The markets are now officially open. And just like that, looks like it's kind of a mixed bag in terms of how the markets are looking. As you can see, the Dow, S&P 500, and the NASDAQ all in the green right now. That will likely go up and down throughout the day, but hopefully more ups than downs as those folks are out there trying to get some trades in. If you're one of the people who's trading and investing, hopefully it will be a profitable day for you. Still to come here on American Sunrise, though, President Trump set to deliver his first official State of the Union address before Congress and the American people. This will be the first one of his second term, just to be clear. After the break, we'll talk about our expectations and what President Trump needs to say to the American people. We're back in just a moment.
Slow down because you're tired. And weakness gets exposed. That's why the best take Go pills. Born for military performance, built for high-pressure days when your brain has to move faster than the chaos. This is neurotransmitter support, helping your mind fire clean signals so you can process data fast, decide fast, and stay locked in when it matters. Packed with clinically supported ingredients designed to boost cognitive performance so you stay sharp under pressure. The most badass military in the world uses this kind of energy every day. Now you can too. From training to eliminate America's enemies to smoke-checking terrorists, Go pills keep the mission fueled. Real-world tested by high-level tactical communities. Now available to you. Greenlight the beast inside. Pop a Go pill. Scan the QR code or go to gopills.com and use promo code REALAmerica for 15% off.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up. Why would we trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bio-arms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty.
Everybody needs to pray for Charlotte.
All right, welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Thanks for joining us this morning. We invite you to hop in our chat on Getter and Rumble and YouTube. It's time now to take the political pulse of America. Here's the beat today. President Donald Trump will deliver his highly anticipated State of the Union address, his first since returning to the White House, laying out what the administration calls a confident, restorative vision for the country. The speech comes after a year marked by major policy pushes, a surging economy, aggressive border enforcement, a revamped national security strategy, and the launch of the Board of Peace, the president's signature global peace plan. But the White House also faces some challenges, from rising tensions with Iran to growing divides in Congress and to the pressing need to show progress on issues like family security, energy prices, and the continuing search for national unity. Joining us now with analysis, the host of America's Voice Live and the Steve Gruber Show, Steve Gruber. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, G. How are you?
I'm good, my friend. What do the American people need to hear from President Trump tonight if you were writing this speech, Steve Gruber, which, by the way, I think you do a very fine job?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Gruber for United States Senate. That's what he should say. No, I'm kidding. Look, I think he's going to talk about some important things. He's going to talk about the accomplishments of closing the border. He's going to talk about the accomplishments of getting Maduro out of Venezuela, giving that country a chance. He's going to talk about the buildup in the Middle East with Iran. But I think the majority of his speech has to be dedicated to the economy. It has to be. It is what most people are talking about. It's what affects most families. It's what affects you and I on a daily basis. Can we pay the bills at the end of the month? I think that's where he has to go. He has a real opportunity here, and I'm wondering if tonight will be the night that we hear Donald Trump lay out the Republican plan for health care in America. It is one of the top talking points. They've talked about health savings accounts. They've talked about health associations where you have millions of people negotiating with people like United Health or Blue Cross and Blue Shield. If you lay out a plan, which we've heard is out there, this would be the time to do it. Presidents often take time to lay out big policy initiatives at the State of the Union. And so health care could be front and center tonight, could be one of the pivotal conversations for the evening that I look forward to hearing as I'm here in Washington to cover the speech for Real America's Voice with the team. So I think the economy is where he spends the majority of his time, because I think it's what hits home with young people. And look, he carried those young voters in 2024, but to keep them involved in the process and participating and turning out good midterm results for the Republicans, they have to believe that they have a stake in this thing. They have to believe that they have a chance to buy a house, to raise a family, to be part of this thing we call America. So I expect the president to spend time on foreign policy and Mexico and the border, but the majority of the time will be dedicated to what's happening here at home.
Steve, we're going to hear. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, David.
Terrance,
no, David, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right,
My
Steve, we're going to work it out here.
Good.
Okay, we're going to work it out here, Steve, in a second. Steve, we're going to hear a lot of positive economic news tonight from the president, and yet we keep hearing over and over again that Americans just aren't feeling it yet. And I'm not saying that's not true. It is true to a degree, but what's happening exactly? Where's the disconnect? Because gas prices are down, and you look at, wages are up as it relates to the per capita situation economically. What's happening? Why the disconnect? And the truth of the matter is President Trump doesn't do the Bill Clinton stuff, right? I should really have some context there, if you know what I'm saying. But he doesn't do, sorry, my bad. That needs to be a run-on sentence, I believe.
That's it, I'm out of here.
In other words, he doesn't do I feel your pain. That's not Trump's shtick. So what does he do tonight to kind of connect or square the circle and connect the dots and all that stupid stuff that I was babbling on about? Go ahead.
How does he make it connect, I think was your question, or where is the disconnect? I think that's a great question. The disconnect is here. Look, gas where I am in Michigan when I'm there is about $2.85. It's not $1.85 like you hear the president talking about. It's true in some places, Oklahoma and Texas, for example, but it's not true everywhere. And so I think that a big part of the switch will come when people start seeing those refunds hit their mailbox from the Internal Revenue Service. When you start to realize that some of the money you made working overtime or on tip jobs is coming back to your bottom line, that's going to start to make an impact. But look, it takes time. And here's the thing. Donald Trump was not elected with a magic wand in his hand, because these bad policies are not just from the last 4 years, they're from the last 40 years. There's a lot of messes to clean up, whether it's NGOs or fraud, which we see all over this country. And trust me, Minnesota is small potatoes compared to the fraud committed against the federal government every year. It's a bigger target with a lot more money flying around. And so in order for it to not be a disconnect, the people that are, having trouble making ends meet, the people that have seen their rent go up because inflation was 9.1% in 2022, it takes a while to come back from that. Prices aren't going down, they're just going up slower, but the prices have still been elevated, right? We already know that. The price of your mortgage is up, the price of your rent is up, the price of your food is up, gasoline's better, but that's just one part of a much bigger formula, right? So in order for him to get this done, he needs some time. And I hope that the American people will hear a message tonight of hopefulness, of positive economic movement, but with the understanding that he can't do it in 1 year. Again, this is not 4 years of problems. This is 40 years of misspending. We're at $38.5 trillion of debt, not from the last 4 years, although it was accelerated then. But there's a lot of repair to be done. So I think he needs to connect with the American people. I think he needs to do it on wages, on health care, on security. And honestly, law and order is something else that needs to be discussed here on the home front, because I don't know if you saw the snowballs being pelted at New York City police officers yesterday. Just attacking police officers. Why? Because we've taught our children there are no consequences. There are no consequences if you attack police, give them the finger, call them names, throw things at them. You're not going to be arrested. Not in Mamdani's New York City. I think it's shameful. And so there's a variety of places where I feel he can make connections tonight. But I do think that if he comes out with a health care plan, that could be a big move. If he comes out with other economic plans that can say, look, you've got a stake on these things, the Trump accounts for children, so that the next generation and the generation after that has a head start toward the American dream. I think these are important initiatives, and I look forward to that. I also look forward to, I'm going to be honest with you, to the hockey team being there. I think that's a true American moment, all right? A true American moment where we can feel good. And I feel sorry. I honestly feel sorry for the folks on social media that are attacking the hockey team. Can you not for one day set aside your animosity and just celebrate America? Can't you just celebrate a team? The guy got his teeth knocked out. By the way, guys, for those of you keeping score at home, all four of the guys on the ice when they scored that overtime game-winning goal, where were they from? Every one of them. Michigan. Thank you for playing. Thank you very much for playing. All four for four. Thank you very much. Let's hear from the greatest state in America.
Sorry. If only Steve had hair to flip, so you could be like Michigan.
Michigan, that's right. How's my hair look? Am I looking good? You got it.
It looks Illinois is better, though. I'm just going to say Illinois is better. Hey, Steve, so look, you've already alluded to this, and I think you make a great point that the president is probably going to roll out some policy advancements. You said specifically when it comes to health care. What other issues do you think he's going to address in terms of really moving the America First and MAGA agenda forward? And more importantly, how critical is it not for him to be reflective and take a victory lap, but really to kind of continue moving the ball down the court and letting the American people know that work is still being done and these are the specific steps he plans to take?
Well, I think that's a great point you make, Terrance. A victory lap, maybe. And look, Donald Trump likes to talk about his accomplishments. He'll do that. I have no problem with that. They've made some great strides. There's not been a single person released into the United States in 9 months from the southern border. That's a pretty important accomplishment. I think he's going to talk about mortgage rates and the Fed. He has to, because Jerome Powell has been behind the curve on this for months, years maybe. Look, if you drop interest rates by 0.25% or 0.5% in the next 6 months, that's going to supercharge the economy as well. I wouldn't spend as much time on the stock market. It's good for people who have 401ks and so forth, but for those that do not, What difference does it make to them? So he has to be able to connect. And again, I'm going to this 18 to 35-year-old age range. This is the critical place he has to make some connections. You do that by saying, we can lower the interest rates so you have a better car payment, a lower mortgage rate, a better rate on anything you borrow money for, lower rates on your credit cards. He's talked about working with the banks to lower credit card rates. This impacts real families, right? This has impact on, oh, I've got an extra $25, I've got an extra $200, I've got an extra $500. You can do that with health care, so he's got to have a roadmap ahead. Yes, take credit for the successes, that's important, but have a roadmap, and I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will. Look, he'll probably mention the tariffs. He'll probably say to Brett Kavanaugh, you're the greatest jurist in the history of jurists, sitting in the front row, because he's happy with his dissent. But it has to be a roadmap, a hopeful roadmap for economic achievement of the ordinary American living in Missouri or Montana or Mississippi or wherever. They've got to have a roadmap for ordinary Americans to say, I buy into what he's selling, right? I buy what he is selling.
You know, by the way, he would have guaranteed success. He's going to have success anyhow, but he would have guaranteed success if he puts AOC up there for 30 seconds to explain Taiwan. That's what he should do. Just an FYI. Okay, I'm done. Yeah. I'm done.
All right.
That would
Appreciate
be good.
It.
That would be true Trumpian. Steve Gruber, thank you for being with us today. We'll see you tonight.
All right,
Thanks,
guys,
Steve.
Thanks.
All right. Hey, folks, are you worried about what's in your water? Because I am. And you should be, because, you know, nationwide testing shows that high levels of harmful contaminants and dangerous chemicals are in our drinking water in every state. Doesn't matter where you are. That's coast to coast. Well, so what can we do about it? That becomes the question. You can install a whole house water filtration system. It's a great way to be proactive and at the same time protect your family from these harmful cancer-causing chemicals. Freedom Whole House Water Systems, made right here in the USA by American workers, is the best whole house water filtration system out there. It's maintenance free. It means no salt to add, no filters to change ever. Can you even imagine that? I even have to change the filter in my heater. That's amazing. Just clean alkaline water from every faucet in your house. And now is a great time to get one. Scan the barcode or go to their website, freedomwatersystems.com. freedomwatersystems.com. Put in your promo code SKIP26 to get $1,000 off of your Freedom Whole House water filter system today. SKIP26 is that code. All right, there's more American Sunrise coming back right after the break. Stick around.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
It was a cover. Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
every storm, every moment of uncertainty.
Everybody needs to pray for Charlotte.
Let's spill some tea.
All right, Let's Spill Some Tea is sponsored by Artillery Tea Company, the veteran-owned patriotic tea brand delivering premium whole leaf tea in biodegradable sachets that brew twice as strong. Patriots, if you love great tea on your terms, check out the Patriots Brew Club for automatic shipments that you control. You can cancel or swap flavors anytime with no commitments. You'll also get free shipping on every order, tiered discounts up to 20% off, and free milestone rewards along the way. Brew strong, stay patriotic, and head to artilleryteaco.com right now and click Join the Patriots Brew Club to get started. It is time now to spill some tea, and in the cup today, President Trump honoring angel families. Trump hosted a tearful Angel Family Day ceremony at the White House, honoring Americans killed by illegal immigrants, including Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The president signed a proclamation making February 22nd Angel Family Day and met with grieving families. Trump also renewed his call for stronger border security, saying the victims will not be forgotten. Let's bring in RAV correspondent and the host of Law and Border, Ben Bergquam, who was at the event. Ben, what more can you tell us about that experience?
Well, it was an absolute honor to be there. I've been working with angel families for almost 10 years. It was the catalyst, actually meeting Agnes Gibney and hearing her story and other stories like Angie Morphine and Laura Wilkerson and Sabine Durden, these moms and dads and brothers and sisters who've had their families ripped apart by illegal aliens. The fact that we have a government, half of the government, that protects illegal aliens over American citizens should disgust every American. And President Trump mentioned that yesterday. He just can't believe that the mainstream media and that Democrats will be out there marching in the streets to protect criminal illegal aliens, obstructing ICE from doing their job. And we're going to see more of that today. A lot of these Democrats refusing to go to the State of the Union. They're going to be protesting outside on the Washington Mall. I'll be out there with them. It's just absolutely disgusting. And that's where we're at. That's the State of the Union. We are divided states of America right now because of the radical left that really hate this country and hate everything it stands for. And yesterday was just a perfect example of that, bringing a room full of parents that have lost their family members that the Democrat media won't even acknowledge.
Yeah, Ben, it's just so heartbreaking, and it really does have ripple effects. You know, what the mainstream media covers, it, goes into the Democrat-led cities, and the leaders there push back against Trump administration, everything that they're doing to keep Americans safe through ICE. It's horrible to see. Excited to see your coverage later tonight at the State of the Union, Ben. Tell us a little bit more about what we can expect to see at that event tonight. Any angel families are going to be mentioned at all during all of that?
Well, I was talking to Agnes. I don't know of any specifically, but we were saying how great of an idea it would be just to fill the rotunda and force the Democrats to turn around and actually have to look at them, the Democrats that actually show up. But again, it's going to be a celebration. There's a stark contrast between President Trump and MAGA America that want to see America ascend versus the Democrats that want to see this country destroyed, that tear it down at every opportunity, that do nothing to actually try to bring Americans together. And I think that's what you're going to see. You're going to see President Trump's speech talking about bringing Americans together, American citizens, not invaders. And you're going to see the counter, the Democrats come with the exact opposite and just basically make up lies. Imagine if the Democrats actually gave President Trump credit for what they're doing with the economy and what they're doing to secure our borders, what they're doing to bring global peace around the world. Imagine if they would do that. We would see unparalleled growth like we haven't seen before. But they can't do that because they know they'd lose the elections. And that's what this is all about. It's about 2026, unfortunately.
Yeah, it certainly would be a bad look for the Democrats if they gave any credit to President Trump, which he deserves. He absolutely deserves. I don't think we're going to see any credit from the left to him tonight. And Ben, you bring up the midterms, the 2026 midterms. I think that is going to be such a main focus tonight and throughout the rest of the year. And immigration is going to come up time and time again. I'm curious. You spoke with these angel families yesterday. How did they give President Trump a grade on how he's been handling immigration in this country? What more could he be doing, and what would they like to see from him?
They gave him an A for sure. Every single person I spoke to thanks God every day that President Trump's in office, that he's deporting illegals, that he's secured the border. But the real grade comes down to these, as you mentioned, these sanctuary jurisdictions that are obstructing ICE, that are preventing ICE from doing their jobs. What I heard over and over yesterday is we don't just want criminal illegal aliens deported. We want all illegals deported. That's what Angel families want.
Well, Ben Bergquam, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And like I said, look forward to seeing your coverage at the State of the Union later tonight.
My pleasure.
Still to come on American Sunrise, our own Dr. Gina is standing by with the top story that she's keeping her eye on today. The one to watch is next on American Sunrise. Stick around.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up.
Why would we trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty.
Everybody needs to pray for Charlotte.
All right, welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Thanks for joining us this morning. It is time now for the one to watch. Here's what we all have our eye on today. President Trump's first State of the Union address of his second term happening tonight. Real America's Voice will be live all day with special coverage. Take a look.
President of the United States.
It's been an incredible year for America. The Dow hitting record highs, the border secured, cartels in shambles. Dictators captured, wars brought to an end.
America is back.
And the United States respected again around the world. Now, Donald J. Trump delivers his next State of the Union address, laying out the victories and the bold vision for what comes next.
The American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before.
America now has a strong president, unlike the other guy.
Well, we saved the planet from the climate crisis.
Are you stupid?
Live coverage starts this Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss the real State of the Union on Real America's Voice.
It will be like nothing that has ever been seen before.
David Brody, what fireworks will you be watching for tonight?
Well, I'm glad you used the word fireworks, because in essence, that's what I was going to say, the moments, right? What are the moments we're going to wait for tonight? Let's be honest. Can we just be honest, whether it be a Republican or Democrat president, it's all a bunch of gobbledygook, okay? It's all a bunch of gobbledygook. I mean, Americans aren't really listening to all that. They want to see moments, and there are going to be a lot of different ones. The Supreme Court justices, they'll be right in the front row. What will that interaction between the president and the Supreme Court justices be like? The USA hockey team team. We've talked about that, the men's hockey team. What will Democrats, what antics will they pull tonight? You know, it's those type of moments that I'm going to just be interested in. Obviously, we'll dissect all of the content tomorrow morning, but the content is going to be what we kind of expect it to be. I think the only difference will be what sort of potential new initiative he'll announce tonight. And usually there's one or two. So I guess we'll wait for that. T-Bates.
That last part is critical for me. I want to know what the new initiatives are. I want to know where the focus is going to be moving forward. That's what I'm going to be looking forward to. And let's just be honest. This speech is going to be graded by tone and by style. I'm interested in the tone that the president takes and all of this.